Sports Unraveled #1. Sitting here breaking down some fights, coming fights. We got fights on the 14th. We're watching some fights. We're watching Thiago Tavares versus Duho Choi. Is that his name?
Duho Choi.
Choi. Dude's legit. I love that Cub Swanson fight. That was a super entertaining match. What'd you think of the main card from last weekend? Did you watch the whole?
I watched the whole thing. Yeah, I watched the whole card.
That Magny fight though, I'm looking forward to rewatching that. I can't wait till they put it on Fight Pass. Just because, it wasn't, I guess, the most entertaining, but
no,
Condit knew he lost too. That's why it was kind of sad at the end.
He looked frustrated. Carlos Condit's one of those guys that seems like he hasn't added much to his game over the years.
Man. Since
he's stuck with the same stuff.
I was looking at his record the other day. Because he's had several losses since the GSP fight. That was probably, I would say, that was maybe his peak.
Yeah, for sure.
But man, I was super excited when he came to the UFC. And, I still like watching him fight. And Neil Magny used to train with Miguel Torres. And I got to train with Miguel Torres a couple of seminars a long time ago, when I was a blue belt. And it was super good, too. So, Miguel Torres and Stephan Bonner used to train with Carlson Gracie Sr. And then when he passed away, that team kind of broke up because Carlson Gracie Jr., I guess, took over. And it just wasn't maybe the same. I don't know.
Yeah, what happened to Miguel Torres?
Well, he made that rape van joke on Twitter, and then he got fired, and then they got real strict on social media, and then they brought him back. He had, I think, 4 fights in the UFC. Do you remember him fighting Demetrius Johnson?
I don't know.
Dude, we should watch that fight next. I actually watched it recently. You know why I love to watch that fight is because there's awesome sweeps. This is a big argument. It's Miguel would get taken down by Mighty Mouse. This is when Mighty Mouse was a 35er. Mm-hmm. He'd get taken down by Mighty Mouse and then almost immediately sweep Mighty Mouse and stay on top more time of the round than Mighty Mouse. But Mighty Mouse won the fight on, I think it was a split decision. Well, you can watch that next for sure. I'm wondering how this Thiago Tavares fight turns out because I don't even know what the decision is. I just started charting this Choi guy after the Swanson fight, and I hadn't really looked into him other than I'm excited to see him fight Jeremy Stevens. Yeah, Condit's had a bad run.
Yeah, he's had a rough go of it.
And he's 0-1 in pro boxing. I didn't even know that.
He blew his knee out, didn't he, against Tyron Woodley?
Well, and he's had a lot of 3-1 in kickboxing. He has a win over Marcus Davis in kickboxing and Pete Spratt. That's kind of impressive. I didn't know that. 2005.
Marcus Davis was a good boxer, wasn't he?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he had. I want to say he had more pro boxing fights than anybody in the the UFC. As I've been working on, I want to do a podcast over people with pro or amateur boxing experience. That's why, I was kind of pulling for Garbrandt, even though, I thought that his boxing and his that Team Alpha Male Wrestling would offset Dillashaw's kickboxing game, but it did not.
Right. Yeah.
But that was a good fight. Did you see the? Have you been following the Cody Garbrandt, Jean-Claude Van Damme thing?
I saw what Cody had to say about it.
Okay, so I didn't really see. I heard what Uriah Faber said about it.
I saw that he said something, but I didn't see that yet.
Yeah.
Did he? He made it sound. I'm assuming he made it sound like Cody was a douche, right?
A little bit. He was just one man. What Van Damme did is he hook kicked him. Traditional style, just
No,
that's what I saw on the video.
Yeah, was that what was the video? What Cody was talking about that he got mad about?
I think so.
Yeah. See, I was like, dude, he barely touched him, and he gotta get mad about that.
I know, right?
They were
but
horseplaying.
Maybe, it was. It was a little horseplay.
Just kissed him with the foot right in the mouth.
Dude, I'll tell you, have you met Adam Sharp? He moved away to Fort Smith, and he's been coming back in. He's one of purple belts.
Yeah, I think
he's Sharpie. I think he's at Nogi that night. He's pretty good looking hair right now. I'm always giving him shit about it, but Choi's getting taken down right now. Come on, Choi. Nice get up in base though. And you're back down. But he, lost my thought on Sharpie there. What was I saying? Huh.
Tavares is pretty much just a grappler from what I remember. I hadn't seen him fight in a while, but kind of like a...
Yeah, I kind of got that
wrestler.
vibe too. I haven't been following him in like 2 or 3 years. I was kind of excited about him for a minute. He's had some high-profile fights, but maybe this is a high-profile fight. Let's check out his record.
I'm assuming some point in here, Choi catches him with a right straight.
Dude, Choi's boxing is legit.
And Choi's still really young, isn't he?
26.
26. Wow.
I wonder what age you have to go do that service.
I want to say you have like 10 years or something, because it seems like what was who had the Korean Zombie had to do it?
Yeah. So, so what I was saying about Sharpie, I hook kicked him one time, like showing technique, like just like that, and accidentally chipped his tooth, and he didn't even get mad. Like, and I felt super bad. I was immediately like, and that's what on that video that on the Faber video, it's like, it looked like Jean-Claude Van Damme was like, oh, I'm so sorry, dude.
Yeah,
and that's what Faber was like saying about it, is that he was there as like a fan and to help. Cause I mean, dude, honestly, Jean-Claude Van Damme has super legit kicks. And I was going to bring up the Vitor Belfort, Uriah Hall fight coming up, because both those dudes have wheel kick knockouts. And I remember hearing maybe even Joe Rogan 5 years ago say something to the effect that a spin wheel kick is like a 1 in a million chance. And then like all these traditional techniques like that, the oblique kick, things that have come from like JKD or karate or taekwondo, you're starting to see that more and more. You're even starting to see, oh, damn.
I had a feeling it was coming.
Oh, whoa. Herb has seen enough, and this
Right,
dude
yeah.
is happy. Choi with the KO. Dang. I'm gonna queue up that Miguel Torres fight. Dude, Fight Pass is almost just like YouTube for fights for me, man. It's so damn good. Yeah, man, I really I've considered having even recently. I saw him post the other day. I'm friends with him on Facebook, but having Miguel in for a seminar and getting him to do like gi and no gi or no gi and kickboxing. Because like actually, when I went with him, he did. I think it was 2 hours stand up, 2 hours no gi, 2 hours gi, or something like that. Something to that effect. But it's like we trained all day, and it was seriously one of the best seminars ever. And like at the time that the seminar happened, he had just lost those 2 fights in a row at WEC and lost the title, and got knocked out by Benavidez and Brian Bowles, and still had this gnarly scar on his forehead, bro. Miguel Torres, 36 years old. Yeah, dude. Do you remember Miguel versus Michael McDonald?
I remember that was kind of like a war, wasn't it? If I remember correctly. Or no, someone caught someone with a big uppercut.
Yeah. Michael McDonald caught Miguel with it, and then that was Miguel's last fight in the UFC. So, and he had actually more fights in the UFC than I remembered last time I looked. What? Dude, I'm not seeing the Demetrius Johnson fight on here. I just watched it like not too long ago. Antonio Banuelos. Oh, yeah, here it is. Demetrius. So he fought Antonio Banuelos to kind of a boring decision, his first fight in the UFC. And then he fought Demetrius Johnson next. And this, I don't think it was Johnson's first fight in the UFC. Because, here he fought Yamamoto at 126. But he hadn't had very many fights in the UFC, to the best of my knowledge. Because he's since, Mighty Mouse, he's since dropped to 25, won the title, and defended it how many times, you know?
Did he fight Torres before or after he fought Dominic Cruz?
Ooh, dude, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, he got a little ragdolled up by Dominic in that bigger weight class.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Like, and I think he was just one of those guys that was waiting for them to add his weight class.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
You're seeing that right now in the female divisions.
Yeah, I like how that's kind of branching out now. But now Nunes is going to fight
Yeah,
Cyborg.
what do you think about that? You think she's gonna just try and be a 2 division champ, or you think she's gonna move up? Because I see Johanna moving up to 35 to fight Shevchenko, because Shevchenko beat her in kickboxing once already.
Yeah, it would be 25 for.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
And I think Nunes has a really, really good chance with Cyborg. I think she's a really good matchup for her.
It's gonna be exciting. I would watch it. I guess I'm gonna. I guess I'm gonna watch it. Yeah,
for sure. I see Cyborg with the counter right hand that she always uses, but I don't know if that'll be able to work with Nunes. Nunes kind of slips a lot and then throws a lot of those long straights.
Yeah, man. I remember when.
And Nunes is a big girl too.
She is. You know, when we were in Vegas and we're supposed to see her fight Shevchenko when that fight got canceled. So we saw Justin Gaethje fight Michael Johnson, who's fighting on, I think, next weekend's card, right?
Is he?
I believe so. Yeah, I screenshotted the card so I could pull it up and look at it while I'm...
Yeah, he's not fighting next weekend.
He's fighting real soon. If it's not next weekend, it's on the Miocic card.
It's probably the Miocic card. And who is he fighting? I remember seeing something about that.
Let me check.
I know he's been talking a lot of crap to, Kevin Lee lately, but I don't think they're fighting.
Let's see. It's not that one.
Young DJ, amateur Muay Thai champ. I didn't know that.
I didn't either. Yeah, dude. I mean, this is one of his first fights, or one of the earliest fights. I think that the Dominic Cruz was after this. I could be wrong. Did he fight Dominic Cruz for the title?
I don't know. I don't remember. He had to have been. It had to have been because Dominic Cruz was
What'd you think about that Gaethje Alvarez fight?
It was sick. See, I like it when fighters add new stuff to their game, and Eddie Alvarez added those body punches.
He did, and I loved how he strategized at the end of every round. He would do like a crazy signature move or something. It's like John Jones pulling guard in that one fight at like the last 10 seconds. It's like, well, and he was like throwing a triangle up when the bell went.
Yeah, Eddie Alvarez showed some new, pretty nice stuff. The body punches, and he hit. I don't know if that's something he always does with like that darting like right hand when he starts off to the left.
Yeah,
he hit that once or twice, and that looked really nice. I was like, wow, that's a punch I don't see very much, but looks super effective.
That's what I was watching on that Modern Martial Artist page that I was enjoying was how he was like the leaping and arching uppercut, leaping hook and arching uppercuts on Mike Tyson and the gazelle punch of Rocky Marciano. Because he just had some good commentary on it and like some good footage that he pulled from on both of them, and they were kind of like interrelated. But I love seeing him evolve the striking, and that's like I know you and I talked. You said you had the Greg Jackson book, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's just like I know there's things that are not in their book, but it's like that between that and the seminars I've done with Greg Jackson and what I've seen him do and like Fighters Only mag, like I've collected a lot of their techniques and strategies over the years. It's like they haven't evolved a whole lot recently that I've seen. Their win percentages for their team are still the same. Mm-hmm. Like they've always been like above a 50% win average, but it's yeah. I didn't know Demetrius Johnson lost to Brad Pickett in the WC. Went over Miguel Torres in this fight we're watching. Then a unanimous decision loss to Dominic Cruz for the Bantamweight Championship right after this Miguel Torres fight. So that was the sad part is, like, if this was a split decision loss for Miguel, and I'm almost positive. Let me double check. I remember seeing it as a split. Guess it doesn't say what the score was.
Wow, 10 inches of reach and 6 inches of height disadvantage.
Well, see, and I want to say that the Miguel, as soon as he went to the UFC, and then when I trained with him, he was training with for Haas. He started training at TriStar. Yeah, Miguel's had he's had some people that he's produced over the years. Like what got us on that was Neil Magny. Like I used to watch Neil Magny work mitts with this striking coach from Miguel's gym that I also did a seminar with named Gene Caldron, Caledron, I think it was, Caldron. But just like a really good mitt holder. Like that was his thing, is he could just feed mitts for days. One of those I don't know if have you done that really long like jab cross hook cross drill we do. It's like jab parry jab cross hook cross block cross hook cross weave cross hook cross. I got that from that guy.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's like the coolest part of like doing this over the years is like doing seminars with people like Mike Winklejohn, Greg Jackson, Miguel Torres, Sean Shirk, and being able to like pick up and preserve techniques.
See, I've never been to a seminar, so
Really?
yeah, I've never been to like an actual, fight seminar. So I don't.
Yeah, dude.
Am I missing out? I probably should start going to them.
Those were all like MMA and striking seminars. I like speaking of like the traditional type stuff, like Jean-Claude Van Damme was doing. I did a seminar with Bill Wallace last year. Do you know Superfoot Bill Wallace? You ever heard of him?
Heard of him? Yeah, he was like the three kicks, like from that one stance.
Lead kick, round kick, hook kick.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I'd wanted to train with him for a long time, and he came in. My coach, Danny Dring, is a 8th degree black belt in that system, and got his 8th degree at that seminar. He's trained with him for like over 30 years, and he's a 7th degree in the Joe Louis system. And like those dudes are like old school, like they're kind of accredited for inventing the concept of American kickboxing. Like when you hear people talk about American kickboxing or Dutch style Muay Thai. Like they're pretty much, when I hear American kickboxing, I automatically think Bill Wallace and Joe Louis, and like Benny the Jet Urquidez. He's another old school guy. Just like they're all in their 70s and stuff now, but man, in the 1970s, we're just like leading, and that like I want to say all of them trained with Bruce Lee. Bill Wallace trained Elvis.
Oh,
sick.
Nice.
I know, right?
I didn't know Elvis was throwing kicks.
Yeah, I'm like, I need to find out who's training Willie Nelson. dude's got a Taekwondo black belt.
Does he really?
Yeah, I want to say it's Taekwondo. It may be karate, but it's definitely a traditional martial art. I've seen him like performing like katas in like a competition on YouTube. Yeah, we might have to pull up Willie Nelson doing Taekwondo after this.
See that.
See, Miguel got taken down. It's 3-10 in the first round. And he swept on top to like a 3/4 mount, and he's got good head and arm control. Like, so this was the argument, is that how do you gauge? Because like in jiu-jitsu, a sweep and a takedown are both worth 2 points. They're considered weighted equally. I haven't heard a lot of talk on like if it's a ref's decision, if it's like a tie match, if they're going to give it to. But it's the same thing. It's like, you don't see a whole lot of sweeps. I think sweeps from the guard are harder to perform in MMA than a takedown. Against like the cage, because Miguel got taken down against the cage. But it seems like wall takedowns are easier for me, and statistically, I think I see more wall takedowns, cage takedowns than sweeps in the guard.
Yeah, you definitely do.
So it's like maybe a lot of people brought up the point that maybe the sweep should have been weighted more because it's harder to do and impressive, and Miguel has been on top for 60 seconds now. So it's like they stood up for 30 seconds or so, close to a minute. Miguel gets taken down. Miguel's passing, working a good knee slide pass there. I like to back step around that shin when they do that, when they bring that shin across in your pass. Look past his guard. Mm-hmm. So like Miguel's winning this fight in my view right now. It's 1:50 to go. Ooh, Johnson reverses. See, and here's and then Miguel's getting his half guard back. And here's another argument: is like, okay, so in jiu-jitsu, if you reverse, meaning you're under my side mount, and you get up and get out. Miguel's going for a leg lock. You get up and get out, and you put me in side mount. They don't give you any points. They're like, you shouldn't have been in side mount, bro. We don't care that you're on top. You shouldn't have been on bottom. You should have had your guard, so like that's another thing. It's like, but to me, it's more impressive that you reverse somebody from under side mount or full mount, or they have your back and you get up and you have them on top, than ending up in a guard or guard pass. I want that top position, past the guard. But MMA is a little different because you get to punch.
Changes a lot.
Yeah, it does. That, and I'll say this, like Cora's last fight, the wall adds in a whole new, and we worked a lot of wall work, but that girl just like didn't want to grapple her and didn't want to strike with her and just pushed her up against the wall and didn't try any takedowns. And it was an amateur fight on Legacy in the second fight of the night, 3-minute rounds. The ref probably should have pulled him off, but it's like, I see why he wouldn't, because it's second fight. There's only like 3 amateur fights on that card.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that there was they were putting a lot of weight into the entertainment value of the female amateur fights, but people were booing because, like, and Corey, they're like, takedown, like she's not doing it, she's just leaning like Randy Couture leaning on Brock Lesnar, basically.
Yeah.
Which I thought it was awesome when Randy did it, but this, I mean, it's like 225er females. I was just like, man, come on.
Yeah.
So Miguel finished on bottom after a leg lock attempt. So that's a pretty even round for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Because Johnson got that reversal.
It was half in control each, 2.5 minutes each.
Yeah, dude, I'm kind of thinking about having Miguel in for a seminar. I think that'd be legit.
You should.
Yeah. Someone else I want to have in, and I've got, he just sent me, like, Alan Belcher. Alan Belcher's from Arkansas. Like,
that's right.
We know a lot of the same people. So I kind of want to have him in too. Like I've talked to him on Facebook several times, like friends on Facebook. I want to say Corey's friends with his wife on Facebook, and I want to say I am too. But we just know a lot of the same people. Like one of his really good friends is one of my friends, one of my coaches, Caleb from Inferno's really good friends, Joey Perry, who has a black belt under Zatch from Surf Ninjas. You ever see Surf Ninjas?
No.
I'll loan it to you. I think it's on YouTube. Dude, it's got, so you remember, I'm always joking about you drinking The Secret of the Ooze, but so have you seen the old school Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trilogy?
No.
Bro,
You
don't even get
so
the
long
reference.
ago
Yeah, like, dude, I mean, I saw it when I was a kid, but in the second one, there's this pizza delivery boy, and that's Ernie Reyes Jr., and he's been in a lot of movies over the years, but like when a lot of people like get that reference, they're like, no way. Because I've met those dudes a few times. His dad's actually Ernie Reyes Sr. They have this thing called, if you ever want to look it up, they have this super awesome like martial arts, a demo team that does everything. They do MMA, they do XMA, and they have like these like kids and teens and stuff. They play these drums like real tribal, like while they're doing the demo, and like it's super legit. But the West Coast demo team, they're like award winning every year for like 30 years or something. I don't know, like a really long time. Miguel's on bottom right now. I want to say flower sweeps from right here. Goes, yeah, that's sort of a flower sweep, like a triangle sweep. You ever see Miguel Torres versus Chase BB?
Nope, haven't seen that.
There's a sick, I'll have to show it to you. There's a sick transition that Miguel gets into in that fight. That was a sick knee, but then he got taken down. I like that. I like that slap on the ears right there.
Yeah.
I used to do that to people.
Ears.
Yeah. I like hitting people like, whoa, knocking over the mic there, like this. Like both fists at once. Like I did that in my first MMA fight. I got the guy in mount, and I was just doing ground and pound. I was throwing like hook style punches, and then I just went boom, just guerrilla style.
Nice.
And people were talking about it because I was just like, he was blocking everything, so just did a couple of Donkey Kong punches. Miguel's got me a reverse triangle. Is an arm in? Yeah, actually, this is crazy. I don't remember this. Miguel taught this the first time I ever learned this series from underside mount. You push some. They leave their arm in between your legs, kind of like that. You push their head in triangle, and you can Kimura Americana arm bar the other arm by your head. That's actually who I learned that from.
Miguel Torres?
Yeah, at that seminar I was talking about. And I never noticed him. I never remembered him doing it. I mean, maybe at the time. This fight was several years ago.
Yeah, this was like 6 years ago.
Let's see. UFC 130, 2011, dude. That is a while back. Dude, the thing is, too, about Miguel, a lot of people don't realize, man, how many fights did Miguel have? And he's fought once outside of the UFC, but like
those guys that had a ton of fights.
Oh, dude, in the WC, he was sitting on like 50 fights or something, I want to say he had more fights than like anybody I knew of at the time. And I mean, he was just like, when I trained with him, his knees were super scarred up. Like, I mean, the dude had been through it, and he was like 30, 31, 32 when I trained with him, probably.
Yeah, I think
Like,
he
was
came
just
from
into the UFC.
the mindset back when there was tons of gym wars back in the day.
Yes,
too.
like he said,
Sparring
he had a
wars.
lot of fights that weren't even sanctioned and that aren't on his record. I remember reading that on like his website. So he got into this exchange with Chase Beebe and like this, where Chase Beebe underhooks his shoulder like this. So he goes for an omoplata. This is the fight that he won the WC title with, and we're working a little elevator sweep again. So he goes for an omoplata. Dude rolls out and then turns over, and then he like scoops him into front headlock and does like a gator roll, like an anaconda style gator roll from the like front arm triangle choke.
Yeah.
And lets the dude get his arm out, and like they're like head to head, like north south. Miguel calls it a rear naked guillotine, but he's like had him in a anaconda, like gator rolled anaconda. Lets the dude's arm out, and then like rear naked chokes him. But they're like head to head. It's kind of a weird, but it's a pretty epic submission chain. I was just like, dang, because I mean it's like he hit him with like the fourth thing. Miguel's on bottom. He's going for leg locks again, though. That's probably that TriStar, man. Fearhouse is super sick at heel hooks himself.
DJ spin there looking for a leg lock, too? Or I don't see why he went like that.
What did you think about Condit going for all the leg locks? I kind of liked how he had the transition, but you could just tell that he probably hadn't worked on it enough. Like, I hadn't seen him do that previously.
I guess he might as well, because he doesn't have the... I don't know if he doesn't have the takedown defense, or if he just doesn't care and prefers to just try to throw up submissions. But you can tell Condit is one of those guys that he operates like 100% by that Greg Jackson book. It seems like I can see everything
that's such a good book.
Jackson talks about in the book.
They need to release a part 2. They need to come up with new techniques and give us part 2. But that's like, I wonder what the difference in that and their like actual curriculum is, because Greg Jackson runs an like actual curriculum, and he sold it to Century Martial Arts for a few years. Apparently, I never like signed up for it or anything, but I did the seminars, and I've seen some seminars he's got online. One of the seminars I went to, the whole thing is online. Like my buddy Nate Murdoch, he's a pro fighter. He's at 30 pro fights, fought in Bellator. He and I were there together. Nate runs the Fayetteville school, and that's a sick sweep, bro. That's a sick butterfly style elevator sweep. But then Demetrius Johnson reverses. See, yeah, Miguel's diving up under it. That's a legit transition. Yeah, what was I talking about, Nate? I don't remember what I was going to say. Got distracted by the sweeps.
Wasn't about the Century.
Nate was at the seminar with me. Yeah, he was my partner, and like we actually got to work with Greg on like a few of the techniques. Like he came over, he went for his pretty sick low single there. Didn't you say you wrestled in high school? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, cool. Just in high school, do y'all have a big like youth program and stuff coming up too? Or?
No, I was one of the ones that I joined late in the game. I was in 10th grade when I started. Went to
Dude, we didn't even have wrestling until 2009 in the school I graduated from, which is one of the bigger towns around here, Clarksville. It's up the road at like 30 minutes. I mean, it's probably a third of the size of Russellville, but there's smaller school districts in Clarksville that in the state that have wrestling. Clarksville still has no wrestling. Crazy.
That's unfortunate. Yeah.
I would have done it. Like, I ended up playing football. I would have got into wrestling for sure. Because as soon as I didn't get into martial arts until after high school. As soon as I got into jiu-jitsu and grappling, I was hooked. And then I was hooked on striking.
Yeah.
The same way.
Yeah, I was the same with wrestling.
Dude, I like wrestling. I've got to work with a lot of good coaches over the years. There's boxing those ears again. Yeah, see, that was the thing. Is like, I want to say Miguel got a sweep every round, and Demetrius got a takedown every round, because Demetrius, he got a takedown. He's on top right now. Past the guards, got him an arm ride. I like telephone. Like Demetrius Johnson's left hand going like this, trapping their arm in there. Yeah. Miguel got his guard back, sitting up, got a deep overhook, foot in the hip. See, you go in some of your spare time, or we might even do it today, and watch Miguel Torres do grappling tournaments. The dude is a savage, bro. I want to say he might have like won a really big IBJJF one time, but he guillotines everybody. Like I'm talking Marcelo guillotines everybody. Does this thing I think he calls it high elbow guillotine, where he gets like he finishes it differently. It might be the same way Marcelo Garcia does guillotines. I'm not really sure, but I just remember seeing him back in the day just rolling everybody up with this guillotine choke at a tournament. Dude, and do you remember Stephan Bonner, man? He had some legit submission. I want to say he submitted James Irvin with a Kimura in the UFC, the Sandman.
I haven't followed Stephan Bonner much.
Yeah, I really was a fan of the 205 division back in like when I first started training and stuff. That's like first Ultimate Fighter I really watched and got into was after the Forrest Griffin. It was like when Michael Bisping won Ultimate Fighter 3, and that's when Michael Bisping, the only fight he lost at 205, I'm pretty sure, was to Rashad Evans.
Oh, right.
But like back then, he like Bonner was always in some high profile fights with people in the 205 division, and lost a lot of them. I remember, dude. Do you remember when John Jones I think it was his first or second fight in the UFC. He fought Stephan Bonner and annihilated him. I watched that fight live and was just like, "Oh, who the heck is this guy?"
That was when he started landing those first spinning back elbows, and
I want to say he did a belly to back suplex in that fight, but I may be wrong. Like had him by the back and just bent over. Just
he did land. What you don't see very much is that double overhook throw.
That might be what I'm thinking. It might be like a belly to belly style.
Yeah,
that might be what. Because I just remember him like bending over,
beautiful,
backwards.
It was perfect. And I really don't know if I've ever seen one like that really ever since then.
Yeah, we were talking about speaking of Demetrius Johnson. We were talking yesterday with the guy I had on in the morning about Demetrius Johnson picking that dude up and just chunking him down into the arm bar.
That was sick.
In judo, that's like a combination in judo, because like so many of your judo throws you finish in an armbar Miguel on top, working the pass. But like almost all the judo throws, if you don't finish in pins, there he's going for that guillotine. That's his jam, dude. That's it. Yeah, used it to sweep. Johnson's bridging. Miguel's still on top. 25 left to go in the third. See, this is a good fight, dude. I mean, I would have hate to call this fight, honestly. And like, I think too, watching it now, back then I was biased towards Miguel because I just trained with him. But it's a close fight. But I could see it either way. But I could see a split decision for Johnson too, just because of stuff like that.
Johnson's landing more on the feet. On the brief moments they've been on the feet, Johnson's landing some good shots.
I mean, damn, got a double leg off the fence in the last 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And look, Miguel looking kind of defeated when he gets up, and Johnson just like hope.
Yeah, good way to end the fight for DJ. That overhand right was there on the feet the whole time, and for somehow being the much shorter man, the knees were there, knees to the body.
You ever follow John Danaher? Like John Danaher, the Danaher Death Squad. He is the guy pretty much, if I understand correctly, mostly runs Renzo Gracie's jiu-jitsu program. I believe it's at the main Renzo Gracie location. But this dude, I have a Renzo Gracie book called Mastering Jiu-Jitsu that was released, I think, in 2002. It might have been after that. It might have been like 2007 or something. But it's about 10 years old or more. And Danaher co-authored that, and I didn't find this out. But have you followed or heard of Gary Tonin or Gordon Ryan? These guys are
I hear about them, but I'm not a big competition jiu-jitsu guy.
They're no-gi guys, and they're heel hooking the shit out of everybody that breathes that does no-gi. Like ADCC, they cleaned up. But Danaher, Fearhouse from TriStar, is one of Danaher's black belts. A lot of people don't know that connection. Yeah. So, like, John Danaher cornered GSP in the Bisping fight.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he's like a bald coach, kind of. Danaher is also, I believe, Matt Serra's coach, or they like Matt Serra, Ricardo Almeida, Tom DeBlass. I don't know if you ever watched him. He had 2 fights in the UFC, 2 fights in Bellator. I think at light heavyweight, it might have been heavyweight, might have been 85. I can't really remember because he didn't stick with MMA, but he's a decorated jiu-jitsu guy, black belt. But all of those dudes come out of Team Henzo. So, like, you remember Matt Hughes fighting Henzo Gracie?
Nope.
Finished him with, or no, he didn't. Did he finish him? I think he finished. Yeah, he finished him with leg kicks. This is back. I just rewatched it the other day, but finished him with leg kicks. It was morbid. It was crazy that I believe they called that fight due to leg kicks. But you remember Faber versus Jose Aldo?
I do remember that one.
Didn't call that fight. I watched that fight the other day, and I was just like, dear God, man. Like in the third round, I'm just like, throw in the towel. I was just like, damn, dude. And at what point when somebody like can't stand on both their feet and it falls over
Yeah, so speaking of throwing in the towel, what's your opinion on that? Because there's been a lot of talk about it lately, and the fighters are usually all against it, but I've been watching lots of fights lately, and I'm like, man, just throw in the towel. Like,
ref is not doing his job. On that Holly Holm Jermaine Durandamy fight, I was super pissed that the ref didn't do more on that late hit in the second time that it happened. I think that's the second round. But on that, I don't know, dude. I think that needs to be like what you and I are like. We're having a conversation about it right now, that in a trust thing, because if I'm not mistaken, one of the divisions in the Gracie family was over Elio's brother throwing in the towel in that Kimura fight. Because accordingly, Kimura put Elio, and it's like 51 or 54, and that's why it's called the Kimura, the submission, put Elio Gracie in that move. Like, the fight had been going on for a while, and he'd been throwing him, and Elio just recovers his guard, and they get back up. And there's some footage of it on the internet, but put him in that Kimura, and there's conflicting reports, and I think it's just historical manipulation, honestly. And I'll tell you a little other backstory on it. But the Valente brothers on a video on YouTube say that Elio's arm did not break. But like the main narrative I picked up on for like the whole time until I saw that Valente brothers video, and still what I believe is that his arm did break. But a lot of people say that it didn't break. So, but his brother threw in the towel. And I want to say they maybe never talked again. I would have to look this story up again to verify it. I just kind of became like, dude, Hickson and Henzo are the only two Gracies I'm really interested in. Cron Gracie's pretty legit and trains with the Diaz brothers a lot. And he's had a few fights in like Ryzen, but I don't think he's like 28 years old. I don't think he's really into the MMA scene as much. And I mean, his dad's Hickson. He's got a lot to live up to, but I don't think that he's super legit in jiu-jitsu, but like Hickson was gone for 10 years. I would like to see the Cron Gracie that would have trained at Hickson the whole time. I think that would have made a big difference. But Cron talks about that on Joe Rogan's podcast and goes into it about Hickson being gone. And I want to say that Cron got his black belt when he was 18. His brother had just died, and then Hickson just kind of fell off the map. That was when Hickson was talking about coming back to fight Fedor and shit, and in like his early to mid 40s. And then his son, like a lot of reports on it, but his son just died somehow, and they didn't even know that he died. And they found his, I want to say Henzo was able to identify him. They found him at a hospital in New York. It was like a month or something after the fact that it was just like a John Doe type body situation. Super sad stuff. But Jack that's coming out here on February 3rd, Jack Toffer, he trains with Hickson quite a bit. He just did a 4-hour private lesson with Hickson. He's going to be on the podcast, Sports Unraveled.
Nice.
I'm excited about it, dude. So any other thoughts on that Condit Magny fight, man?
No, just hoping Condit.
I know. What's next for him? I wonder what he's going to do.
It seems like he's kind of in a stalemate right now in his career.
Wasn't it like 16 months since his last fight? And then he had a big layoff before that. So he's been on the shelf a lot in that rush. I just hope he doesn't. I mean, maybe he needs to be done, or maybe he's got fight left in him, but we're just seeing some ring rust. I mean, Magny's been on a little bit of a tear. Didn't he fight Damian Maia and lose to Damian Maia?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, Condit and Magny both did, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, and that's like Damian Maia's. Like, I think he just turned 40. He's kind of on his way out. I was super. He fought that really close fight. I thought it was a close fight with Jorge Masvidal.
Yeah, that was a really close fight.
Yeah, and then that Woodley fight, man, that was such. I did not like that fight. Check this out. Carlos Condit's last 3 losses are to Robbie Lawler, Damian Maia, and Neil Magny. Then right before that, he had that TKO due to knee injury. Remember that? That's what he had to get surgery for in that Tyrone Woodley fight. I just remembering that. Got a TKO win over Martin Kampman. Lost to Johnny Hendricks right after GSP for the vacated title. Yeah. Why do you think GSP left the sport the first time? I think it was the PED issue. And the aliens.
He did say it was the PED issue a little bit. I think he was just a little burnt out, needed a break. He'd been in it for a long time and was catching a lot of heat, lost so much attention.
Have you seen that episode of Joe Rogan where he's on there talking super crazy shit?
GSP was?
Yeah.
Was like about the aliens?
Yeah.
No, I didn't see that,
Dude,
but I've heard about it.
Yeah. I didn't watch it either for a long time. Like, I remember it when it came out, hearing about it and like reading an article on Facebook or something. But I went and watched it the other day, and I went and rewatched and I'd seen this before, but when Joe Rogan was kind of like, Brendan, you need to not fight anymore in the UFC because you're not a top heavyweight. And Brendan Schwab's like, what?
What?
Like, just his face. Like, in the video I was watching too, like, one of them kept replaying his face over and over again. It was funny.
Well, did you see the quote from Brendan Schaub about when him and Krokop fought on the same card and he was backstage, like, sitting with him?
No.
It was something, I'm probably going to butcher it, but he was like, yeah, they're both sitting there, and I think they had both come off, like, sort of brutal losses, and he looked at Krokop, and he was like, man, like, what do you think? And Krokop was just like, this is life. And Brendan was saying, he said, like, internally, he was like, man, it's like sitting there with this guy, like, this is life. Like, this literally is life to him, you know, win or lose, no matter how brutal it is. But he was like, to me, it's not. Like, I just don't really want to be here right now. So he's like, that was the difference between, like, him and Krokop. He just didn't really, his mind and heart wasn't in the fight game really anymore like that, like Krokop's was.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Like how the psychology behind showing up. Mm-hmm. That's like everybody kind of refers to it as the same thing. It feels like I've heard multiple fighters that had like a bad performance but were super talented, and they're just like, oh, I just couldn't show up, man. Just couldn't do it. Like my buddy Nate I mentioned earlier, I did the Greg Jackson seminar with. But funny story about that is I was watching this Greg Jackson seminar and like, I'm like, oh, that's in the book. That's in the book. Oh, I learned that at that seminar. And I was like, wait, that seminar with Nate, there's Nate right there. That's me. Like, it was just like, and I was like, that is the seminar. I've learned all these techniques. But yeah, it's fascinating. Like all these fighters, it's like I just couldn't mentally do it that day.
Yeah,
had probably mentally done it most of their practices in camp, mm-hmm. and have obviously mentally done it a bunch of other fights previously, but just couldn't pull it together.
Yeah, that's one of the most fascinating things about fighting to me is the mental game.
Sports psychology, man. We better start wearing suits. I feel like that is a theme that I've picked up on. If you wear a suit, it makes a difference. I'm trying to just wear the sweatpants though. I have to start like wearing, nicer clothes at least 2 days a week because I'm gonna be teaching at Morrilton.
Right. Yeah.
So I gotta wear some slacks and a nice button up, or maybe a sweater vest. I'm gonna, dude. Jesse from kickboxing.
Yeah.
That dude dresses like such a baller. He actually was my first podcast. We talked about Star Wars: The Last Jedi for like an hour and 40 minutes. The dude's awesome. I'm gonna have him on again. So I'm excited to have the Flavio on. I've got 2 people for next Friday. I got a guy coming. I just watched this TED Talk about water that was super fascinating. You might.
What about it?
It was this guy was basically saying, and this is what my guest is going to talk about. Like he's going to talk about like light energy, but it was basically that this dude was opining that there was a 4th state to liquid. So, you know, because there's vapor, there's like ice, like a solid, and then there's just, you know,
liquid.
just liquid. Yeah. But he was saying that there's a fourth phase and how we could like harness that, and then how like there's positive and negative attraction to certain molecular alignments of liquid, and he was, I mean, just kind of diagramming it all out, and I was fascinated by it. But I was like thinking that like that fourth state could vary, and then he was talking about in like simply molecular terms, because I was just like, because I was thinking like the lower you go down in the ocean, at what point, like in the super deep depths where it's not getting any light, I kind of thought he was talking about the like almost like a mud or something, but he's like, that's like, I guess, a different molecular structure than what this dude is alluding to. But he's kind of alluding to like slushy type, like the mid transition between like ice melting over water or in water, or ice turning to more of a solid, just like a slush. I don't know.
Sounds like crazy stuff.
It was crazy stuff. I mean, I'm not the expert in it, but the guest, man, he's gonna talk about it, and we're gonna go over it. He's actually, have you got a massage by a guy at our gym since you've been here?
No.
Might have him like work on your shoulder, dude. When he comes in next week, he's gonna be doing some massages. I don't know if you're working next Friday. But I bet, dude, he's been working on me for like over a year and a half, and I never really got massages other than a time or two before that, and like,
yeah, it's something I've been meaning to do my whole life, but never done it.
I know, right? Yeah, that, dude, and chiropractic. Like, I know some people are anti chiropractic care, but I don't care. All I know is like I've been straight up like can't function with an issue with my collarbone and shoulder. And I was just like, had resolved I was going to have to live with it. I'm like, I felt pressure pushing out from like the back of my neck up through the front of my collarbone. And it was like excruciating. And I went for 3 visits. Like, what I like about my guy is he's never like, we're going to need to see you 48 more times.
Yeah.
And then it might be fixed. Maybe 60 times. You know, like they're like, he's just like, dude, come back and see me if you feel like you need it. Mm-hmm. You know, he's like, it's just really like almost like going to physical therapy, and he does do alignments on you if you're not too jacked up. But he did the first alignment. It was mostly just like a PT, ice, heat. They put on this like gel on the back of my neck and did this little wand thing that was like shocking my muscle, like a ultrasound type deal. It was like super awesome. Have you ever used a TENS unit, like electroshock pads, like fatigues your muscle and gets it to relax? I've got one here at the house. They're super legit. But like they do that when you go to the chiropractor, they put them on your back, and and then he'll have like his assistant or him like super work your back muscles out and maybe give you an alignment. But he gave me a light alignment, and then the next time he gave me this like a full alignment, popped everything, and my rib back here started hurting like right below where that issue was in my neck. And I told him about that, and I went and saw him a 3rd time. Like, literally hasn't hurt since, dude. And I was hurting for months. And so, like, when people are calling bullshit, I'm just like, that's my deal. Like, I couldn't function. Like, I was depressed about it too.
I feel you on that for sure.
Yeah, dude. I'm gonna show you a couple of things that I picked up over the years, because I got that level 2 AC separation, and like I've noticed, like I did yoga. I've been doing yoga more. I did yoga twice this week, and there's certain things that like really get that shoulder and open it up. But
really, I do yoga every single day.
That's good.
I feel like there's not really that much that it moves it in a way that I think it needs to be moved.
See, I would say this, like what I'm saying that I don't like makes it feel not good is things like what you were saying on that rubber guard the other day. Like probably like one thing I'll do is and I do this for Cora because she makes me pop her back all the time. But like, think about like, opening your chest out like that. Like that's what like getting my posture and like doing a certain set of exercise, like doing that on the foam roller, because you want your sternum and your chest to open like that. Because as we get older, your shoulders just kind of naturally fall in. And do you have to sit at a desk all day? You get to walk around?
I do. I walk a lot because.
Do you have your own office?
Yeah.
Legit.
Well, it's like a cubicle.
Nice.
Dope though. I
Yeah,
love
cool.
it.
Like, what kind of decorative stuff you got? You got any like plants or like what are you
No,
doing?
see, I want to bring a plant in, but I have to bring it like through security and everything.
You gotta,
and I
yeah.
don't know about doing all that.
Do you conceal carry?
No, I used to, and I want to.
Probably shouldn't do that.
Well,
Well, I know, but like I've heard so many stories about dudes like being off on vacation. This happened last year at the plant, being off, and then like come back from vacation and they accidentally left their 380 in their bag or something, and then they get through security and they're like, "Dude, you are fired, bro! Like you can't be bringing your concealed to the nuke plant." I don't know, but yeah, that's like I've heard a lot of people at the plant. They said they stopped carrying because they didn't want to get fired like their buddy. I don't know.
I mean, there's signs everywhere. It's a self-check. No
Well, see,
weapons.
a lot of the guys I
You
know.
walk straight past that.
Did you ever get to train with Danny in boxing?
Danny, who's?
Danny Cruz. He works at the plant. He's in security.
I don't think so. No.
But most of the dudes I know, like I've got Aaron Morris. He's one of my blue belts. He's in security. And these dudes work like crazy hours. Danny worked like more overtime than ever last year. But they're the ones who are telling me that because I guess they have to deal with it and get briefings on it like more than anybody being in security. Yeah. So let's see, man. What were the other fights on the main card on that
Last weekend.
UFC 219 besides Cyborg Holm, obviously?
That was the Khabib fight.
Yeah. What did you think about that? I thought he just freaking annihilated.
Yeah, he annihilated him.
Dude, I mean, why did they not make Khabib versus Tony Ferguson? Was Tony Ferguson not ready? What's the deal with that?
Shoot, what is the reason for that? Isn't Tony Ferguson fighting someone coming up, or am I?
I think you're right. I'll look that up.
He was already booked.
Khabib 30-25, 30-25, 30-24.
Yeah, dude. I thought that was gonna happen, but
like you can't disagree with that. You know, one thing I will say is, if I'm not mistaken, on the Holm Durandamy fight, if they would have taken a point, that would have been a draw. I think that's what they were petitioning the AC for because I remember they took that to petition for that late hit happening 2 times. I think they were going for like a DQ, but they ended up not doing anything. So interesting. Yeah, I wanted to see Khabib versus Tony Ferguson, and I wish, and I'm glad Khabib made weight. And he didn't look like he was dying on the scale or anything.
He looked good. I heard he had a new nutritionist or something this time, and I think he looked a lot better.
I wonder what Mike Dolce's been into these days. He's still working. I know. Like I was just thinking the other day, I got to do a little seminar with him one time over just nutrition and.
Last time I heard about him was when he was with Rousey.
Yeah, I just remember BJ Penn talking shit about him that one time, and like BJ didn't make weight or something. I can't remember what the deal was.
Yeah, there's been a few people I think that have said something about him, and he's always kind of got some drama following him.
Yeah. Well, dude, Mike Dolce, he was saying when that he used to be this big jacked up power lifter and like blew out both of his shoulders doing bench or something, like just like really had like wrecked his body. And was like super poor nutrition, and then just like became Mike Dolce, the Dolce diet guy. Like, I mean, like he had some of the craziest ideas, and man, everybody I ever saw that like followed his plan really killed it in terms of like what they were trying to do, like get more lean muscle mass, maintain, recover faster, not not get injured as much. I mean, the diet piece is so important. I think that's of course it could have just been an excuse, but you saw that picture of Johanna freaking crying in the bathtub before that last fight that she's like, oh well, I lost because I had a bad nutritional team. And
yeah, I heard something about that.
Yeah, I mean, and that could just be an excuse, but I mean, it's a real issue. Like, I didn't watch it, but Cora did. That there's like a little documentary about Cyborg cutting weight. You should check that out. And she's just like, Cora's just like all the time like talking shit about Cyborg, and because she saw that documentary, she's like, this is bad for the sport. It's like that needs to serve as a footnote for what not to do. It's like I would like for Cora to move down to 115, but like that's going to be a process of like her fighting at 25 a couple more times. I mean, she's leaning out. Her body has changed like. Probably like I would say she's on like her 3rd to 4th little change since since starting to do martial arts, because like she had never really done anything athletic or what have you, and then got into training and like really transformed her body multiple times. Now she's doing yoga and personal training, works with a guy 2 times a week, and all the drilling and other stuff she does, and teaching. I mean, she's plugged into the matrix.
Yeah.
I kind of was not into. Did you watch that Dan Hooker fight?
Yeah. I liked it. I thought
Really?
Dan Hooker did a
I kind of fell asleep in it. I should rewatch it.
man.
That's why I was wanting to. Like, I was wanting to rewatch the whole card and just do an episode over that. But dude, I'm always in here watching fights anyway and breaking things down. It's like Tim and I were doing yesterday, and like a lot of the casts I've already done. I think I put 4 on iTunes yesterday. I've got them all edited and starting to get them uploaded, and I think I'll have my animations all back by Monday, and I can put everything on YouTube. But I'm trying to, and I'm building my website, but I'm trying to figure out everywhere I want to put. But apparently iTunes will upload to that Stitcher that I was telling you about, the podcast snobs. Giving them a shout out right now. Maybe they'll listen to this if I upload it. But that's been a cool part, is figuring out what I want to do. I haven't done a Facebook page yet. I'm probably going to do that. I thought about sharing it on my own Facebook page, but I don't know. It's like I already have a lot of Facebook pages for the other stuff.
Yeah.
You know,
all
like
kinds
there's
of
the
Facebook
fitness
pages.
page, there's the gym page, there's the group, the member group.
Yeah.
Then there's my own page, and we got a page for the nonprofit,
Mm-hmm.
which before that we had we created a parent page for that, but before that we had a page for the boxing club. So it's just like,
It's a lot of
and I had,
social media
yeah,
stuff
when I
to
was
keep up
competing, all the time I had an athlete page because I was sponsored by Gameness and a few other people, and I was just always like making really pointed posts about sponsors and things of that nature. But that's been a couple years back, and I don't even update that anymore. I should probably close it down. But yeah, I like that Carlos Esparza fight.
I did too.
It was a good follow up to
It was cool. It was cool. Carla showed a little craftiness with her striking against the bigger, taller. I keep thinking that what's her name? The girl she fought. I don't know. She seems
Calvillo.
Yeah, Cynthia Calvillo. So yeah, she seemed like so much younger, but they were the same age actually. I guess maybe because she's younger in MMA years or whatever. But
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying about Miguel. It's like I really I'm not saying he was like all spent and used up, but like physically speaking, I remember looking at that dude at that seminar and his freaking gnarly ass forehead, which I think he had plastic surgery on because it like, dude, that cut was gnarly. I think it was from I can't remember if it was Benavides or Bowles that cut him real bad. Like somebody cut him real bad and then guillotined him. And then, I just have to look back because Miguel had a round of like really tough fights there at the end of the WEC back when Benson Henderson was getting kicked in the face by Anthony Pettis.
Yeah.
That was legit. Dude, I think we talked about this the other day, and I ended up rewatching it. But that fight against Benson Henderson versus Nate Diaz, that's a good fight.
that was
dude.
a really good fight.
Like that thigh jab. I
Yeah.
love that. I love that.
Like doing the people in sparring though, it's kind of looking at me like, what the
I know,
was that?
dude. And then too, so like I was sparring with Tim, and we were just boxing a couple of times, like this weekend, last week. And I was like having to not do it because it's like when I do, like when we work MMA or whatever, I'm always thinking about it and doing it because it adds like another layer of, am I going to take you down? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No.
So it's like, there's like high, mid, low with your jab. This gives you another little level that you don't have that in boxing.
Right.
Can't jab people in the leg in boxing.
I
What's
was
that all
wondering
about?
that.
Isn't that funny? Like, because when Surratt was over the other day, he's like, hey, you guy, you can't grab people like that.
Yeah.
You know, and in boxing, you can't. There's like very little you can do in terms of grabbing. You got to kind of like push off or turn out, but which I don't really agree with, but that's just a stylization of sport, man. You see it in every sport.
Yeah, I know you're not supposed to, but boxing sparring for me is punching.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm the same way. It's like, and here's the thing, dude.
I don't care about competing in boxing. I'm
Well,
never going to compete in boxing.
dude, I'm gonna pull this
up.
up.
Stand-up game.
while we're talking about it, I'm going to pull up Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali would clinch the shit out of people. Like, I'm talking like single collar tie. Dude, I like Tim and I was like this, like I pulled up this fight with this dude. What was his name? Let me look real quick here at my search. A boxer, Pryor versus Arguello. This dude like drank some sort of speed between rounds, like he was getting his ass kicked, and drank this stuff. And like his coach was like, I'm just gonna pull it up and we'll talk about it here on the in the let's see here. I'll cast it up on the TV. So this, and you won't be able to hear the commentary because I unhooked the feed. But so basically, in between rounds, and this dude was a known coach. He was known for cheating. He took padding out of somebody's gloves one time. That's a totally separate thing. But and there's a funny story on how they figured it out. But this dude that's in the corner there is like, hey, no, give me my other bottle, the one I mixed. That's exactly what he said. Give me that bottle, the one I mixed. They're smelling salts, which you're not supposed to use either. He's like, hey, drink this speed, man. Then he goes out and just annihilates and TKOs the dude. Like, that was what happened to him last round, right? Like, I want to say he got dropped right there. But I watched this whole fight the other day, but I just pulled this up for Tim. I was like, hey, I want you to watch this. And then I came over and I was like, you know, because Tim's a worker and, dude, wants to go as far as he can with boxing. He says he wants to fight in the Olympics. And I put as much time in with him as I can and try and get him out there as much as I can. He's had, I think, 5 fights this season, maybe 7 fights overall. But I was like, dude, this is the bullshit that you're going to run up against.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, that's like, I want to do a ton of episodes and maybe pick like a bunch of different people and do a bunch of like, just keep raising awareness on the PED issue. Because so many people are doing it. So many people are, I mean, it's just like, if it wasn't a part of the rules, it's illegal, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But it's like, it's just the fact that some people are like, you can be John Jones and be a millionaire and get blood transfusions, which is what I think is going on. I think the dude's is doing what Lance Armstrong was doing. He has enough money and the right resources to pass the test. Except for, like, USADA seeing the pee come out of your penis.
Can't pass that one.
Yeah, because apparently there's like, have you heard Chael Sonnen talk about like, this dude was like not doing this kind of stuff before he drank that bottle. Like, he was getting his ass beat, dude.
What could he have possibly drank?
I don't. Well, they say speed.
That fast.
Or the theory was that he drank something like they put cocaine in the bottle. That was one theory I heard, but
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you think, I've never obviously drank any cocaine, but well, I don't know.
It would be hard for me to believe, or I mean, I don't know how fast that stuff can, bam, and all of a sudden. Or it could be a psychological thing for him if he thought that was going to happen. Placebo, like, all right, I'm good to go already.
Could be.
Or did you say he had the smelling salts too?
Yeah. So have you seen? And I heard about both of these instances. I think I'd heard about the Ali one. This was when he was Cassius Clay. I heard about this one on Joe Rogan a while back. I don't remember what episode, but I think this is it. Muhammad Ali versus Henry Cooper. He was the European heavyweight champion. So let's see. See if I can find a short video of it. But basically, Henry Cooper at the end of the 5th round, I think it was, drops Ali Cassius Clay out of the ring, like punches him, drops him through the ropes, and then the bell rang. Like, in that order. And Angelo Dundee and he even said, this was in 63. I'm going to pull this up. Angelo Dundee even said that he did this later on like an ESPN interview of some kind. But this isn't the one where Ali's hanging on him, but I think it was Ali and the Zaire fight. Just kept hanging, kept pulling on the head. And you saw that Conor McGregor, how he was using the same stuff. It's like, it's illegal in boxing, but the ref never takes a point for that shit. I'll tell you, he took a point from the dude that Lomachenko fought, though.
Did he take a point from
I'm
him?
pretty sure he did take a point.
I know there was a warning
for grabbing because
yeah,
he just he took a point, and I was happy to see that. But I mean, in all honesty, as many infractions as Connor took, it's like he probably should have had a point taken.
Yeah,
from
I
him.
thought the ref was super, just kind of generous.
That ref
with
cracks
Connor.
me up, dude. I like watching that dude ref. I don't know his name. But and maybe too, like it's like this in MMA. I see it every card. It's like they may just give the pros a little more leniency, like in those big money fights like that, because
probably.
that's exactly it. If that's an industry fight, like the amount of people that fight is going to pay, and that was the big talk on the Canelo Triple G corruption, is that they're like, no, they made it a draw, so they can have a rematch because there are no other fights in boxing for which we want to see that are money fights. So there was this one dude that came on, I want to say Sports Center. It's like right after the Triple G fight, and he's like, follow the money, follow the money, follow the money. This is some corrupt bullshit. Like, dude was pissed and was saying that it was basically rigged.
Oh.
Yeah. Because, I mean, like, that's just it. Like, I'm interested to see if Zuffa does the boxing, because I would like to see that because it gives more outlets for boxing. But there's a lot of issues that are kind of making the sport of boxing the way it is that I don't think Zuffa can do anything about, like the Ali Act. So I think it's between this round right here. It may not be. This is a 10-minute video. Angelo Dundee. Did Ali get knocked down? No. I'm going to fast forward to see if we can find it. So Ali gets knocked down and saved by the bell. And then Angelo Dundee rips Ali's glove open. That glove is now on display. But he rips Ali's glove open, so Ali has like 5 minutes to recover. He's like, oh, ref, he fell out of the ring and ripped his glove. We got to switch his glove. And apparently Angelo Dundee sounds like Joey Diaz. Yeah, dude, I love Joey Diaz. He's Momo. But this dude was the European champ and really took it to Ali, and that it was literally a save by the bell type situation. I've been watching a lot of old Ali fights lately.
I love Ali. There's not very many boxers I really follow, but Ali is one of them.
Yeah, dude, I really
love the way he fights. I
like too because he doesn't. He's a little. He's very tall when he fights, like a lot of people will hung, and I like that about Floyd. Like he stands a little more upright than like a lot of people crouch down. I mean, you never see Mike Tyson stand up that straight. He's always in more of a crouch type stance.
I love the skipping, lean back, right hand counter.
Yeah,
I love that.
I can't remember if it was on the podcast, but I was talking yesterday, or it was with somebody at the gym about boxers taking kidney damage. And it's always the boxers that blade the most that get the most kidney damage because they expose that lead.
So just repeated shots to the kidneys.
Repeated shots. But another thing that people say about repeated shots to the kidneys while you're going through something that's dehydrating your body. Think about how much these dudes sweat. That was what they were saying about the humidity in the Zaire and the Manila fight is how much. Do you have HBO? You got to get HBO. You got to get a buddy's login and use it on Amazon. You need a buddy on Amazon. That's what I got. No, I don't. I'm not doing that. But HBO, there's a documentary on there about, and it may be on YouTube. I don't think it is though, about Sugar Ray Robinson talking about his kidney damage. But they talk about a fight that he got into where like the lights were too hot, and it was like burning their flesh off.
Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard. Yeah, there it is.
Oh, man.
Yeah, right. Like this is. I mean, he's undefeated at this point, and that's what Angelo Dundee's. He's like, I can't be having my fighter lose fights. He's the next greatest thing, But he's out. Like, and Angelo Dundee's like, come on, champ, come on, let's do this. We gotta. He's like, look, he just stood up and then sat back down. I mean, he's literally like, I want to say the ref walks over and asks if he's going to be able to continue that boom lead hook right to the face. Falls through. So I guess Angelo said that when he grabbed the rope like that, but he said he looked down and saw a wrinkle in the glove and just tore it. Like they're using smelling salts right there. That's illegal. Look at him, dude. He is, he's out of it. But this is I was showed Tim both of these fights and a couple more, and I'm like, dude, people cheat. People you love cheat, and people you and I was basically telling him, I'm like, I'm probably not going to be that guy for you, dude. Like, I have an ethical problem with breaking the rules, but at the same time, it's like they can't regulate performance enhancing drugs
in boxing.
In any sport ever since the 1960s, in my view. They like, I mean, that's like with all of this, like the Russian. And it's not just track and field. I believe in every event, Russia is not going to participate in the next Olympics.
I saw that. Yeah,
and that's because of doping. Yeah. And before they're like, oh, well, we're just going to ban the track and field team. But dude, it was all of their events. And so like Ali comes back after getting all of this time to like, there's another video that shows how much time it takes for them to swap his glove. And it's like 5 minutes or something. I want to say they, I can't remember. They had to like go get a glove from the gloving table's in the back. So, yeah, but he, what's crazy is I think he had cut him over the eyebrow. He cut Cooper over the eyebrow in the last round. Yeah, see that? And then he just targeted it and opened it up, and he ends up TKOing him right here.
Wow.
Or he gets stopped due to the cut. I can't remember. Look at that eye.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think that happened this round. I forget the exact breakdown. Yeah, that ref just called it because of that cut.
Little weasels over there.
Dude, I know, right? I know. Dude, when I heard about this, and I was like, because I said this is like when he's Cassius Clay. I was just like, what? I mean, it's not like belief shattering stuff. I know it goes on, but
Yo Romero, I'm pretty sure he.
Dude, okay, well, let's talk. Like, I want to. What do you think about this freaking Bellator tournament, bro? Three out of the 8 people have been caught.
I think it's. I mean, it's sick though, and they're all equally cheaters and stuff.
I know that's like it's just like let them all do it. Just let them all do it. Just get your nose out of it, golden snitch man.
But then there's ones that are like actual high level fighters right now too, like Bader. He's one of the best in the world, and he probably doesn't. He's been successful at high levels. Probably not. He hasn't had any issues with the doping in the past. So
I think that primarily. I mean, you know what a grind training can be, and then if you get something like, if you hurt something and you want to keep training, you're trying to, it's like you do with your shoulder. It's like you do your best to moderate, and then you like throw one punch a little too hard or something while you're trying to recover, and then that probably does set you back on recovering a day or two or whatever.
It's huge.
And but that's why I think fighters are using it for more than anything is to get through those hard ass practices. When you're fighting at that level, they're like. Every practice is super important.
Yeah. That's the injuries helps out a lot.
Yeah. What? So let me pull up that card from next weekend. What?
Next weekend's quite an interesting card.
The 14th. That's where Belfort is fighting. What card is that? That's like a Stevens versus Choi.
Yeah.
Du Ho Choi. Let me pull up that card out here because I was wanting to talk about this. Stevens versus Choi. I'm excited about that. I know who the fook this guy is. Jeremy Stevens. He's a freaking knockout artist. Plus, I really like his movement, coach. Movement. Speaking of Conor McGregor. Naughty Aguilar. Have you ever followed him?
No. Never heard of him.
Look him up on YouTube. He's got a channel called Functional Patterns. I guarantee I'm going to throw him up.
Is he like Ido Portal?
In a sense, he does a lot of like mace training and like just weird. I'm gonna pull up tons of kettlebell stuff. Like the way I do my kettlebell swings now, like I got from Naughty Aguilar. I'm gonna throw this up.
Similac is the first and only infant formula.
Little commercial there in the microphone from YouTube. But yeah, this dude is like he works with a few UFC fighters, but. Has really, I feel like, brought Jeremy Stevens' game up a notch.
How long has he been with this guy?
2 or 3 years, I believe. And as far as I know, he's still with him, but he's been working with him for a while. Let me pull up Jeremy Stevens' record real quick. I mean, Stevens is, I feel like, on a little bit of a run. I mean, he's headlining, he's the main event on this card. 26 wins, 14 losses.
You mind if I take a restroom break real quick?
Yeah, man, totally. I'm actually we'll pause this and I'll do the same thing. You need a water or anything, man?
No, I'm good. It's got this coffee.
Yeah, Choke is this documentary. At one point it's one of the top documentaries on YouTube. It's about Hickson, like right while like Hoist is coming up, he's fighting in this, like what the whole family kind of talks about as being like more important than the UFC, in this big tournament, like an 8-man tournament in one night, not in one fucking year. That's like what I'm not excited about. This Bellator thing is like, it ain't going to shake out the way anybody wants because people are going to get hurt, and then this person I have to fight that.
But it could introduce new, cooler people or new Justice cool
yeah,
people
like
in
Rory
the tournament.
McDonald.
Like Rory McDonald. If he gets in there, I'll be so hyped.
What do you think about what is his name? Justin Wren, trains at Lovato's in Oklahoma City. He was just on Joe Rogan's podcast, the Pygmy guy.
Why do I?
He builds the
familiar.
he's been on Joe Rogan's twice.
He's a fighter?
He's a fighter. He fights in Bellator. He fights in the heavyweight division. I want to say since he's been back, he's won every fight in Bellator. Maybe won his last 5 fights or something. I looked him up the other day. But he left. First time I saw him on Joe Rogan, he was trying to raise money to go to Africa to like build wells for tribes and villages and stuff like that. And I want to say they've done like 70 wells. But what's crazy is this dude now is so like Rafael Lovato's in Bellator. That dude's just right up the road in Oklahoma City.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
3.5 hours from here, and he's probably one of the most decorated jiu-jitsu guys in the. I think he is the most decorated American jiu-jitsu practitioner, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm trying to find American football player Justin Wren. Maybe this is. But yeah, he fights in Bellator, and I'm like, why isn't this dude American humanitarian worker and pro mixed martial? Yeah, it's him. But I have a super high opinion of Lovato. Yeah, this dude's won his man, 2, 4, his last 6 fights. He was on the Ultimate Fighter heavyweights back in 2009. That's another thing. I'm pretty sure was that season 10.
And this is Justin Wren you're talking about?
Yeah. So I think that he was on the Ultimate Fighter and he could have just been fighting on that card. Let me double check. But I believe that's Ultimate Fighter with Brendan Schwab and Kimbo Slice and Matt Mitrione. Maybe Brendan Schwab should enter the Bellator tournament.
I don't know about that.
Like that'd be funny if like he just rolled up on Joe Rogan and it's like, or like on Fighter and the Kid started being like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make a run. I've been training.
He must have mentioned it at a time. I'm sure it crossed his mind. Like, man, I kind of wish I was in that tournament because
Yeah, I mean,
just as good as most of the guys there.
Honestly, yes, dude. And I talk about this a lot, but like I have this like a conspiracy theory that like since like Bellator is kind of like the Wild West of MMA right now in a way, except for like Arkansas where people are failing HIV tests in Florida and then coming to Arkansas and falsifying the results. You hear about all that? We had a pro boxer on an all boxing card in Camden a few weeks ago that falsified a result, and then they had to go back and get every test. It made national news.
Wow.
And now, well, it's good. It's good though. It's good for the sport because now everybody has to get blood tested in the state. Everybody.
Yeah. So.
Well, it kind of sucks though. You got to go through it. But I mean, it's like $80 to do. Like you can get this online test and take it to like a Med Express or something. Cora did it, and they were able to use her blood from Legacy on this last fight she was supposed to fight in that fell through. So.
Yeah.
But I would like to see Justin Wren. I don't know why he's not in the tournament because in Bellator, I mean, he's not a really big name in terms of heavyweights, but he's probably got a better record at heavyweight. He is 13-2. So, and he's got 6 wins and he's on a 6-win streak, and he's had 6 knockouts. So I'd like to see him get in the mix when somebody pops positive for steroids and can't finish the tournament. Who all is it? It's Fedor.
They're not going to pop positive for steroids.
Yeah, because Bellator is the Wild West, bro. Or because they're wealthy enough that they can,
They might get out due to an injury or something, but yeah. I think most part of these fights are going to happen.
So my conspiracy theory is that the Fertitta brothers actually ousted Bjorn Rebney and now in some back end sense of the way own Bellator. Think about it. Scott Coker, who was in Strike Force after the UFC bought Strike Force, is in Bellator. I want to say, is it Mike Gold? They just fired the commentator who was just on Joe Rogan the other day. He was on the Joe Rogan, the last episode
They
of Joe.
fired him?
I want to say, right?
Jimmy?
Yeah. I didn't watch the episode yet. It was.
I didn't
it
either,
came
but
on.
I saw him on there, and I was like,
Yeah,
man, that's
he's
probably
not-
a really cool episode.
Yeah, I know, right? But he's not the commentator
I
anymore.
really like Jimmy.
So, but is Mike Goldberg commentating in Bellator?
I think so.
Yeah. So, it's just kind of like, and then
They
like,
should have the three guys, right? There's the dude from Pride.
in what sense does it make that Roy McDonald went over there and that Benson Henderson went over there? That they're just kind of, like how many UFC fighters gone over there? And that always happens when there's another kind of like right underneath the UFC level promotion, and and then it's like right under Bellator in my view is Legacy, and Invicta if you're talking females. But it's interesting to me how many people have gone over there and like think about like some of the biggest money fights that have happened. I mean, literally Kimbo versus what was it? That Kimbo Dada 5000. That was like a big card that was on. 'Cause I think didn't Gracie fight Shamrock on that card?
He did. I'm pretty sure that he
Yeah,
did.
2 UFC vets. I mean, it's like, and then too, here's another thing. So you got Shell Sonnen, and I'm telling you, dude, I've been telling people this. Like, I think we're going to see Chuck Liddell because there's a bunch of buzz about, and I think Chuck's going to come back in Bellator, and I think he's going to fight Shell Sonnen. I think he's going to fight Tito, and I think he's going to fight Rampage.
Tito's retired for good.
Yeah, dude, I saw him. Like, okay, so check this out. Tito's head is so big that I was like, I wasn't in the nosebleed section. I was in that T-Mobile Arena watching the Michael Johnson Gagey fight, and he was sitting like cage side, like to my kind of like front right. And you could like, I mean, it's like a whole row. Like he's sitting on like the second row. It's like a whole section, like maybe 20 rows of seats, and he's sitting on like the second row, like a few seats down. And dude, like, you could definitively tell that was Tito. Like it was like it literally like you ever play like 007 GoldenEye for Nintendo 64?
Oh, yeah.
Remember you could get the DK mode with the big head, dude. That's what it reminded me of, dude. I'm like, bro, like your head is bigger than everybody. Like it's like he just was like stuck out from the entire crowd. It was crazy. Like you knew it as soon as you saw him. But he was walking out Cyborg then, and I'm like, damn, dude, your head is so big. Anyway. So, what do you think about that? Speaking of, riffing on TRT and stuff a little bit earlier, what do you think about T-Tor and Uriah Hall?
T-Tor, he's not a former shell of himself. So, but then again, Uriah Hall likes to.
What's fascinating to me is both those dudes have wheel kick knockouts on their record.
So I hear that, but I hadn't seen Vitor even, I don't think, throw a wheel kick since TRT days have been over. Now he's just a puncher.
Right?
Yeah, I don't think he's even thrown one. So, and I highly doubt he's going to be quick enough, like athletic enough to be able to throw one timed even remotely fast enough to hit Uriah Hall. Granted, Uriah Hall doesn't have the greatest footwork in the world, but he is a fast, athletic dude. I don't see that happening.
So, Vitor just beat Nate Marquardt in a decision.
Yeah, really close decision.
What happened with the Gastelum fight?
He got
I didn't see that fight.
obliterated by the 1-2.
Originally a TKO punches win for Gastelum, overturned after who tested positive for marijuana? Gastelum or Vitor?
Yeah, Gastelum.
Shame on him.
Yeah.
Oh man. So yeah, I bet you have to deal with. I've heard the plant is super strict about drug testing and random drug
They
testing.
tried to do me
like
dirty the other day. They gave me a drug test the day I got back from vacation.
Wow.
And, like, no one else is there. The plant is shut down, and it just got back from a vacation. They're like, hey, we're going to need you to go up the hill.
They did that to a friend of mine, and it was literally like we just. It wasn't a big deal. She passed, obviously, but like we just got back from a concert that we like. It was like maybe the Roger Waters concert or something we went to last year. And it was just like coincidental that it's like, and I mean, she's like, goes to her boss, like, hey, I need off for this concert. I'm going to go here and do this. And they're like, oh, yeah, it's okay, you know, blah, blah, blah. She takes off and then, like, literally, like, gets back on, and then, like, the Tuesday after she gets back, they're like, yeah. And so everybody disguised it the same way as you just said, we're going to need you to go up on the hill.
Yeah, and it's random.
Yeah, I used to know a nurse that
doesn't
worked up
seem
there.
random. Like, you know, I swear every time I've had to go, it's like after a long weekend or a vacation, like the very day. But it's supposed to be random.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess, I wonder what places like that. I mean, I'm sure they can still choose for like, I know like a lot of plants that don't do random testing, or not plants, rather, like like speaking like nuclear plants, but just different employers. They will drug test if you get injured. And it's like almost like a backdoor for if you fail, they don't have to pay workman's comp type deal. I bet that will never go away, but I wonder how some of these, what policy will do when and if marijuana becomes federally legal. Because it's like CBD is federally legal. They in California and Oregon, if I'm not mistaken, both, or it's about to happen. If it didn't just happen, they moved a certain type of psilocybin, like a mushroom, to Schedule 2. Yeah, for medical use. Because they're starting to find out that, like, there's a guy on JRE, which he has a website out too. His name's Paul Stamets, was talking about how even certain types of I guess psychoactive, it would be the way to describe it, types of mushrooms like shiitake mushrooms and stuff, can help you bring about neurogenesis, like your neural pathways. Yeah. That was a fascinating episode. I'm working on like the third listen through on it, because the first time I didn't really like it. I think I fell asleep or something, but second time I was like, man, this dude is legit. Like,
I really like Paul Stamets. He has some interesting ideas, and I like what he's doing with the mushrooms.
Yeah, I mean, and people like him are probably some of and I know they've done a lot of government level testing and labs and stuff over the years, but people like him are probably the reason that it's moving to that, is like more of a therapeutic. But I'm all about like trying that route of things for things like for people like veterans and people that are suffering trauma, trying to kind of reroute those neural pathways, or create new ones or reform old ones, like whatever the issue is. I'm not really super up on the science behind it, but if it's it's like whatever works for that person. Is like crazy that people doing the it's not, I guess it's not CBD, I guess it's more like probably CBD and THC combined, but like the oils that are like did you see that Parkinson's video? The guy's just like can't even function from Parkinson's, has a few drops put under his tongue, and then is like eating a sandwich and like relaxing on the couch.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's really disappointing to me that I love CBD.
Yeah.
Can't take it anymore because...
Well, really?
Yeah.
Even though it's federally...
But it still has... Even if you take... I think this is right. I'm not a big science guy like
I'm
in
not
this
either.
Field, but there's...
But bro science.
You take CBD that's free of THC. It still has like 0.001...
metabolites or
whatever. Yeah. So... And then THC builds up in fat cells. So
see,
I guess
now I've heard this. So I've heard that the reason that some THC is found in CBD is the fault of like the grower or whatever. Like I've heard that CBD, like the extracts and stuff they're coming out with, that they're supposed to be totally psychoactive free and not have any THC in them, but people are failing for THC right now when they're just doing CBD. Like I want to say maybe a couple of fighters it's happened to, but it's just like where they get it from. It's like almost like I believe that this would be how it shakes down. Like a grower, they take and they grow their plant, they trim their plant, they take the trimmings and stuff, and they make other products out of that, edibles, hash, all of these things that they all sell to the dispensary. Well, these same growers, I believe, who are probably also in the THC oil game for like vaping and stuff. I think that they are probably just trying to get in the CBD game too, and are making it out of the same plant, and they're getting some like almost like John Jones said, or they've talked about with John Jones, like supplements that have been contaminated because they were made in the same vat.
Yeah.
I don't know, honestly, but yeah, I haven't heard that about that 0.001 or like, that there's traces. I have heard there's traces of THC and CBD, but it's like a mess up.
No, I'm not sure if you can completely isolate.
Have you looked into that hemp work stuff that everybody's selling? That's just what I've seen, and like basically the only reason I know what I know about CBD is from a little narrative from before, but like a lot of people are selling it now since it's federally legal and fighters are able to use it now.
Yeah, that's nice that they let them use it.
And it could be because I know that they've changed it to where you can have a certain amount of metabolite. So the Golden Snitch was talking about that on JRE with the Diaz thing, and he was like, "Yeah, well, Diaz was still like 3 times over." It's like,
yeah. I don't know. That's interesting. Maybe because I don't know. It's not one of those things you don't know if you'll pop on a drug test for THC for taking CBD, but
you don't want
not
to
gonna
risk it. Dude, I mean, I wouldn't either. So you have what's your degree in mechanical engineering?
Nuclear and radiological engineering.
See, the dude I had on yesterday that's a stand-up comic, he is also he has one class left on his mechanical engineering with nuclear technology. Bear the comic, VAR. Check him out.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, it's cool. This dude's trained with me a little bit over the years, and he's been doing stand-up comedy and doing open mics everywhere, like Texas, Oklahoma. I want to say he hit up a place in Mississippi the other day, Arkansas. He's hitting up Little Rock, Northwest Arkansas, I believe. But just kind of chasing the dream, man. I'm like, dude, I'm doing the same thing with the gym, bro. I get it. Because his whole goal is he wants to only do that. That's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to have to have to use his engineering degree. And I'm like, I want to use my master's degree in history, and I am doing that, teaching a class next semester. So, and I'll teach classes as many semesters in the future, as many classes as I can, honestly, because it's pretty. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's something that's not going to be super taxing for my time to teach 1 to even 4 or 5 classes a semester, depending, because with my schedule on Tuesday, Thursday, and the ability to do online classes and stack classes, 2 sections of U.S. History 2, 1 section of Civ, you get down to that process. I've actually had a course over almost all the topics that I'm going to have to go over in that in World Civ 2, 1500 to present. So, yeah, interesting.
Civilization was one of my favorite classes.
Really?
In college. Oh,
nice, dude. Yeah, me too, honestly. And it's because of the guy I took it for. And I didn't get to take him for Civ 1, but when he offered Civ 1, I just went and sat in on it. This dude was a legend. He actually passed away last year. I was talking about him yesterday.
I was recently I've been looking into a lot of stuff, and I wanted to get my old textbooks from that class because I wanted to.
Dude, I can see. This, ironically, is the book that he used for the course at the time. This dude, Armesto, Felipe Fernandez Armesto, he goes over, this is a lot of the perspective on this is through food.
Oh, that's interesting.
So, we went into, the history of coffee, and, textiles. I remember him covering the loom, but fascinating topics. This dude is a really unique historian, but he really talks about a lot of foods. That's one thing he definitely covers in every area is this is he's talking about Columbus. He's going to talk about all the food and spices. And you get that really in the spices talk and everything and pretty much everything, but he really goes into other things besides spices.
Does he go into theories of the advent of grain and everything?
Yeah, to an extent. It's been a while since I read that, but I just pulled it off the shelf the other day. It's I have two bookshelves full of history books, and then when that guy Sonny passed away, retired because he retired after 50 years at Tech.
Man.
Yeah, and dude, like I said, dude was legend status, and they let me clean out his office. And, dude, I stacked and stashed every test, every worksheet, every map. And then he gave his book collection to the dean at the time, who's one of my mentors. And then the dean was like, hey, I got all the books I wanted. You can go get all the books you want. And I was just like, so I got a lot of this old professor. I had this professor for, I think, 24 hours of class. The only classes I didn't get to take him for were England and Greece and Rome, and I'm still sad about it. But this dude was super legit. And I went to his funeral, and he would always when somebody would die in the narrative, he would be like, "Exit Louis the 16th." But every time he would be and then Louis got his head chopped off. Exit Louis, just right there. And then Marie Antoinette got her head chopped off. Exit Marie. But when he passed away, so many of his former students, it was on Facebook. They said it in his eulogy at the funeral. They were like, "Exit Krieger." The dude's name was Professor. And here's a funny story about this. I actually recorded him telling me this story. Worked in a movie theater in Memphis. He got his the student never even had a PhD. He got an honorary PhD. Best lecturer professor I've ever had, and only had a master's degree. And actually, when this dude Armesto came, it was for an honorary lecture for after that dude had retired. So they still have those lectures at Tech where they'll bring in some like internationally kind of recognized historian, and they give a talk, the Krieger lecture series. But yeah, dude was a legend. I missed him. I got a chance to see him, talk to him a few times after he retired. But dude was, I think, in his early 80s when he retired. And his sad deal, like his wife passed away, and then he passed away like 14 days later. Pretty much, I mean, from what I gathered, and super healthy. It was just like one of those deals. Mm-hmm. He didn't have much of a reason to live anymore. Sad deal. Well, who else is on that card coming up besides?
We got Kamaru Usman and Emil Meek.
Yeah, what do you think?
That's a big one.
Yeah, that's the one you're wanting to see. Like I saw that and I was like,
they're the two hot prospects coming in.
Yeah,
and we'll know how. Not very many people are talking about Emil Meek. I don't know why, maybe because he hasn't fought in a long time. Because he did have a hype train like a year ago after he pummeled Husmar Paul Harris, and then
yeah. Okay.
He decisioned Jordan Mean, which to me, Jordan Mean is a really, really good fighter, like super well-rounded, and he decisioned him, so it's kind of like he outclassed him. Like if you knock out Jordan Mean, sure, you can get a knockout on anyone, especially Jordan Mean. That's what happens. But if you decision Jordan Mean, that's a big deal. I think he must be good. I didn't watch that fight, unfortunately, so I don't know how it unfolded. But was it
in the UFC?
Yeah, it was in the UFC.
Dude, let's pull it up. Like we can do that. Isn't that cool? Like once I realized that Fight Pass could provide me that for only $9 a month and all the EBIs and then like full libraries, I'm like, I can watch every Anderson Silva fight ever. Okay, yeah, I'll pay for that. Michael Johnson is fighting. He's on the prelim card, Fox Sports 1 against Darren Elkins.
Yeah, that's a cool fight.
Yeah.
I feel like Darren Elkins, correct me if I'm wrong, but Darren Elkins has kind of been on a slight tear, of a Darren Elkins tear.
that's kind of what it's going to be an interesting fight. I'm excited to see it. Who else is Thiago Alves is fighting on this card. I didn't even really I hadn't been following him. But he's still in the game. I remember, did you ever see Thiago versus Martin Kampmann?
No, I don't think I saw
it. It was in 2012, but it was a really good fight. And it was Thiago come back after a pretty big layoff. Remember when Thiago fought that Papi Albidi guy that was like everybody was buzzing about, and then Thiago just actually destroyed him, submitted with a rear naked choke in the first round. But then he fought Kampmann, and I want to say that he was even kind of winning in the Kampmann fight, and then excuse me, Kampmann grabbed him, Thiago went for a double, and Kampmann kind of grabbed him in a guillotine and did kind of that rear rolled him out and submitted him with a mounted guillotine. And I was just like, damn.
Nice.
I know, dude. And it was in the third round. But yeah, that was the first thing that popped up when I pulled this record up. But Thiago Alves lost to Jim Miller and Carlos Condit and then beat Patrick Cote. That's it, UFC 210. He beat Cote. I was over Patrick Cote when he fought Anderson Silva.
Nah, he had a resurgence.
Maybe. You could say that. I don't know. I've just never really liked him. Let's see who else he's fought since. Dude, that's why, when I do, when I've just had normal guests, Jesse and I pretty much stayed on Star Wars, but, the topic goes to, we're UFC, then we're music, then we're Netflix, then we're, it's just but, dude, that's why I wanted to do, just a, and I'm honestly ever going to really probably only break down combat sports or talk about brain injuries and things in the NFL, like CT and NFL, and that's and performance enhancing drugs in the Olympics. I can give some Olympic commentary too, but I'm not going to be talking about basketball and shit on Sports Unraveled. Sorry, basketball.
Don't blame
you. Don't get any time. This is the only time you're ever going to get.
Yeah.
I'm just not. Is there anything you watch besides combat sports.
I've been a combat sports guy forever.
When
You
I
know,
didn't want to name it MMA Unraveled because I'm going to break down boxing,
Yeah, it'd be
kickboxing. I'll
fun
break
to
down Olympic
do
sport.
boxing.
I want to do just like a big series of talks on performance enhancing drugs. I want to pick fighters that have been busted and do episodes on that. Or like one thing I really want to do is like pick a fighter that's been knocked out a bunch of times. Like we were talking yesterday about Robbie Lawler and about how many wars that dude's been through, and then just like Dos Anjos teeing off on his face, the longest combination in history, or some shit like that.
Yeah,
What the hell?
that's really interesting to me, because I've talked to you before about personally my thoughts on trying to have longevity in the sport.
Dude, I feel yeah, exactly. And I mean, and I guess people are just taking it to that level where they're willing to do things that are maybe like the only ethical thing to me is that like if you are not doing performance enhancing drugs and I'm doing them for one reason,
Right.
to beat you. And beating you it just adds in an ethical issue if you're not also doing them. That's why if you just like say, hey, we're not going to regulate, and people still choose to not do them, but it's like at what point is it are you putting, it's like if I know you might be using performance enhancing drugs, but I choose to fight you anyway, is it a liability at that point?
The way they gotta go is keep doing what they're doing, just make it more and more tight as much as they can.
I love how Joe Rogan's like always talking about the pride contracts because Incident Away, I think it was on his podcast, and like in all caps, it's like, we will not test you for steroids on the pride contracts.
Gee.
Oh, yeah. But let's see. Who did I just pull up here? Oh, Patrick Cote. Let's see what he's been doing. Lost to Cerrone and Thiago Alves. I didn't even see him fight Cerrone in 2016.
Yeah, he got outclassed by Cerrone. I can't remember that one.
No surprise there. Beat Ben Saunders, though. That's kind of impressive. Josh Berkman, Joe Diesel Riggs. That dude beat Nick Diaz in a controversial decision back in the day.
Joe Riggs, isn't he the dude that KO'd Herb Dean back in the day when Herb Dean was fighting?
Maybe. Joe Riggs has had a ton of fights,
Joe Riggs
dude.
KO'd Herb Dean.
Wow. I've seen Herb Dean fight, man. It looks crazy. He got that crazy hair. Stephen Thompson. Patrick Cote lost to Stephen Thompson at UFC 178. What do you think about Wonder Boy? You like Wonder Boy?
I do. Like him a lot. It looks like he's still getting better, which is kind of scary. Still at the top.
Or Wonder, what weight class is Sage Northcutt in? 70 or 55?
I thought he fought at 70 once, or maybe he moved up to 70 recently. But he started out at 55. I'm not sure where he's ending up at right now. Probably 70 because he's gotten a little bigger.
Do you think he's going to do? Apparently, they're talking about him playing Ivan Drago's son in the next Rocky movie.
I'm not a Rocky fan.
Have you seen Rocky 4, bro? The Russian
I haven't
one?
seen any Rockies.
Oh, dude, yeah. There's a girl, Asia, at the gym. She had never seen any Rockies, and we gave her shit for like 2 years until she watched them. But I like the original like first 4 movies. I didn't like the fifth one as a kid or growing up, but and I've seen the newer ones that have come out. I don't know if I've seen all of them, but they're still bleeding that franchise to death, unfortunately. But like Rocky fights this guy named Ivan Drago in the fourth one, who's Dolph Lundgren is the actor. But Sage Northcutt looks like a really cool combination of like Dolph Lundgren and Zach Morris from Saved by the Bell to me. But do you see that meme of Sage Northcutt being like, Mr. Diaz, I was just wondering if maybe we could fight together in the octagon. If not, that's okay.
Yeah.
I hope you have a great day. Like,
Mr.
Diaz is like, that's nice, mother effers. It's super funny, dude. Nick Diaz cracks me up. What fight was it we were talking about a second ago? Let's see if it's on Fight Pass.
Emil Meek and Jordan Mean.
Yeah. Have you been following Tim Means at all?
A little bit. I've always been a fan.
Me too. I'm a fan of that
Dirty
dude's
Bird.
like boxing to elbow combinations.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, dude, elbows and Muay Thai to me, I mean, I think that you can get better at elbows by studying Muay Thai, but like, it's almost like throwing like a jab to an uppercut or a hook to an uppercut. I just feel like that the elbows transition so much smoother off of punches, and since like Dutch style Thai boxers don't throw a lot of elbows, and Thai style in Thailand they do throw a lot of elbows, but less punches. And it's an interesting thing. And I like with Tim Means, like I watch his highlights all the time and watch several of his fights, and it's fascinating how he implements the elbows into the game. Jordan Mean.
It was badass when Tim Means met his match though, and he fought Matt Brown.
Yeah.
And Matt Brown was like, "You want to throw elbows at me? That's what happens."
Yeah. Dude, well, and too, Tim Means had that. He was taking like a creatine or something.
Yeah, he got popped for Austrian, and that was unfortunate because I kind of feel like that was the
They just
only
gave him
true
a little
accident.
slap on the wrist too. 6 months suspension, I think, is all he got, and that's not bad at all.
Was it?
It could have been longer than that, but
it was a long one.
Really, because I want to say only reason I knew how long he was suspended is because I want to say Nowitzki was talking about that, but I could be wrong. Like I don't know how long he was suspended. I'm just like repeating something I heard. But Jordan Mean, Eric Silva, Jordan. Who did he say?
Emil Meek.
Emil Weber. Meek. Okay, yeah, Emil Weber. Meek. Okay, I got you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe many of these guys when they come up with a contained supplement excuse, but
Dude, I don't believe the dick pills excuse, bro.
no, it was complete bullshit.
Yeah, dude. It's like,
bullshit.
you know that John Jones's publicist, when he came on Joe Rogan, was like, what the hell are you doing in there? Like, apparently she was texting him, like, don't say that. Like, and stuff like that, because she was like, or maybe it was a guy, I don't know, but his publicist was apparently listening to it live as it was happening and was like, you can't talk about that. Why are you saying that? Funny. Yeah.
What did he say? It puts the twist on the end of your punch.
Oh, my gosh. Dude, what did you think about the Colby Covington Verdum thing? You think that's real?
Yeah, it's definitely real.
I kind of feel like
couple
it's
asshats.
I know, right? But like, I keep talking about this thing I call the MMA fantasy universe, where they're kind of like trying to WWE us with the UFC.
Oh, okay, yeah. Colby Covington definitely is picking up on this whole bad guy thing after his little comment about the dump in Brazil or whatever. But
Yeah,
I'm sure he really pissed off Fabricio. I mean, Fabricio's a hothead after teeping Edmund in the octagon and everything he's done before. So
yeah.
yeah,
Look at that dude's hair.
pretty sick.
It's good. That kind of looks like Adam Sharp's hair. I'm talking about Adam Sharp's hair twice in one podcast. This dude like never had like always shaved his head and stuff. Like Sharpie's the one with he has neck tattoos.
Yeah, I know
But
who he
like
is.
since he grew his hair out and got a little style, man, he's like super sexy now. I always give it a shit because he used to always like when I was growing my hair out, like I'd use like coconut oil or Moroccan oil and it have like a sheen to it. He was always giving me shit about my hair. It was funny.
No,
Now I'm like, dude, I can't even. I just have this shitty man bun. I like, get baby hairs from doing jiu-jitsu, and you got this like little thing going on.
I decided the other day I'm growing my hair out. I told Hannah last week. I'm like,
What she had to say about it?
well, I announced it in a way that I was like dead serious about it. I'm like, because I've tried it a million times before, and it gets to the awkward stage, and I'm like, I can't do it anymore. But this time, like, it's for real, for real.
Dude, this is the second time I've had my hair this long, and I almost had this long a third time. And like every time I've cut it off, I donate it to Locks of Love or whatever organization they send it to. My buddy Colby always gives me shit because it's like, why are we watching this when we could just fast forward? Like we can go right to the point when they're fighting. So your brother lives in Colorado, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back on like CBD and stuff. What does he do? Does he go to school? Does he work?
He's in school. He goes to University of Colorado at Colorado Springs.
What's oh nice. He needs to go toward the Olympics facility. Like
Yeah, it's right there in town, right?
yeah,
So-
I know. I drove past it, but
what a beautiful campus that is, man. The 10,000, 14, however many thousands of feet.
yeah,
mountains
that
just
we stopped and
surrounding
ate
it.
there on our way to What is Garden of the Gods in Colorado Springs?
Yeah, it's in Colorado
so
Springs.
yeah, we stopped at Garden of the Gods. We stopped and ate in Colorado Springs, and we actually stayed and went and saw Incubus and Deftones in Denver. Denver at the Red Rocks.
Phew.
So sick, bro. So sick. Yeah. Emil Meek. I haven't. I've seen Jordan Mean fight, but I haven't watched Emil Meek too much. Like just a little bit. Like I'm not really tracking him.
Yeah,
what
it's
he's
only
doing.
his first fight in the UFC. It was this one, right? And then he hasn't fought since, and this was a year ago or so.
And he's fighting on next weekend's card, the 14th.
Yeah.
I wonder. Let me look at Fight Pass. I'm gonna see. Maybe we can watch that on Fight Pass. I don't know what all they're breaking it down on, but Fight Pass will tell you what's coming up when and.
Yeah.
Like it's cool because I can go to a fighter, and then I can go to videos, and it'll tell me like on that fighter like when their next fight was, what their last fight was. Young Gun Mean, 30-12. Good for him.
A lot of fights.
I know.
A young dude. And he's already retired once and came out of retirement. I became a Emil Meek fan after that Paul Harris fight.
Paul Harris, Paulharris. That is what it says on Wikipedia.
Don't like that dude, man.
Dude,
don't
he
like
is
him.
a douche for sure.
Him
I
and,
totally agree.
I was just talking to my brother the other day. I was like, had Emil Meek and Alan Belcher, my hero.
Dude,
I've got
Alan just emailed me a DVD or mailed me a DVD set that I bought back in the day that he never mailed me. But like right when that Paul Harris fight came out, Alan was training with Eddie Bravo and doing all this stuff on the truck, and then we came out and trucked Paul Harris. That was a sick fight, man. Like in just recently, the video of him putting Paul Harris in the truck and finishing him went viral and got like millions of views. It was insane. Nice little leg kick.
Yeah, it looks like Emil Meek is a
Single.
really big, explosive dude.
Let me ask you this: let's see how the dude snatched a single and finished it with his head on the outside. Do you like finishing single? I do not like finishing a single like that. Run the pipe with my head on the outside.
I don't see. I'm a wrestling is my base, but I don't shoot. I'm a counter wrestler, or I'm gonna throw you.
I'm a counter wrestler too.
I don't shoot on people. I try to bait them to shoot on me all the time. That's like I
I
stand really
love
upright.
front headlock. That's like that's why I love judo too. It's just like, but I will say this, like with you, ironically, have you done a lot of judo before moving here?
No.
So dude, I think I told you this when we were talking about your shoulder, but the very first judo seminar, it was the day I got my blue belt in jiu-jitsu, but the very first judo seminar I ever did, a guy named Jonathan Borders from Tennessee, this karate dude that was there that was trying to cross-train in jiu-jitsu threw me. And, two, I wasn't super good at break falling either at the time, but he just kind of threw me with like a hip throw. You want to keep your feet, and it's for the person throwing, you want to keep your feet like narrow like this. Like Superfoot Wallace is called Superfoot Wallace because he's a judo black belt and he is a kinesiology master, but he threw a dude on his own leg with a hip style throw. It happens on the throw Tai Toshi. It means body drop. It's like where you put your leg past their leg. Kind of remember that throw Frank Mir threw Roy Nelson with? Big leg throw. Just boom.
Are you talking about stepping outside their leg? And
Yes.
so the back of your leg is pointing
Yes,
towards?
but on this throw Tai Toshi, you don't actually lift your leg up. Like you don't sweep with the leg. They just kind of trip over it. But so like those are the two throws that people injure their leg on. Superfoot Wallace became Superfoot because he could only use that one leg, right?
Yeah,
So, but it was all nice little clinch exchange there. It was all all had to do with the guy had his feet super wide and kind of just threw me over on my shoulder. And I separated that AC joint. So, like, what you're probably feeling a little bit, and like from getting your shoulders in, is like mine clicked. Like I had bone on bone, and like did that just because I'm sore right now from doing a lot of stretching and working out this week, and 2 hours of yoga. Like this is not like I don't like doing stuff like this because of my AC joint. I mean, it really didn't give me a ton, but like what I'll do for you here before you leave is getting somebody to stand behind you with their, like about your own height, they're taller, with their sternum on your back and bowing you forward. You can do it with a foam roller, but like it's somebody physically pulling your shoulders like this while they do it. It's super therapeutic. So
Yeah, what's weird is my shoulder, I can do lots of things with it and it won't bother me, but it's like pushing movements.
I
Like when
noticed
do
this is the
push-ups,
one that bothers me. Like when I go to twist, like if I twist going with like an overhead press or like doing bottoms up kettlebells and stuff, it's a little weak in like the back. It feels like if I said like quadrants of my shoulder, like this little back right corner up here, up under the shoulder. But it was like a grade 2 separation. It's pretty rough. One of my guys right now only does no-gi. He's in high school, but he's dealing with like his 3rd or 4th shoulder injury. Just got an AC separations, had surgery on that same shoulder, and tore the rotator cuff on that shoulder. So, but dude, it's a bummer, man. Like I empathize with the shoulder issues. I haven't had too many issues with it. Dang, that dude is running away. Oh my goodness, man. I wonder if that hurt his toe. It looked like he tried to fly.
It looked like he did, yeah.
I think his toe went in the fence, bro. Dude, I wouldn't bother. I would like to see MMA. I like the cage work. I like the wall work. But the only thing that separates MMA out from like existing on a card with other sports is the cage. It's like they're trying to reinvent the wheel or something. I get it. Like, but and that too, I think in the 90s and stuff, one of the negative connotations with MMA was like wrestling would do those cage matches and stuff where they'd lower the cage down around the ring. And it's like people, I know when I was hearing about cage fighting when I was like a kid, like when UFC's like come into prominence, when John McCain's talking shit about it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, there's not like wrestling. Like that's what I thought. Like that's all I knew. But I think if they either it'd be interesting to me. Dude didn't know what corner to go to. Damn.
Salty.
Yeah. Because like what UFC, I guess they own Glory or what? I know I can watch Glory on Fight Pass, and I know Duke Rufus commentates Glory, or at least he did. But then you get so you got Glory, you got all these crossovers between these people in the UFC, like Ronda Rousey, Brock Lesnar going over to WWE and making an appearance. You got CM Punk coming over. You got James Toney coming from boxing and to fight Randy Couture. You got McGregor going from the UFC to boxing. It's like the only thing that separates all these things is that the UFC is in a cage. But like there's a promotion here in Arkansas that has pro boxing, and it's like this in Tulsa too, in Oklahoma. Several states have this, and I mean maybe every state that does MMA, but you have boxing, kickboxing, MMA, all on the same card in a ring. So, what do you think about MMA ring fights?
Don't like them. Not as much as cage.
Yeah, well, see, like I said, I personally like wall work. I enjoy that. It's always been one of my favorite things to do. I was going to see if you made it to open mat, I was going to see if you wanted to do any wall. But I know your shoulder's a little weak or whatever. But that's something that like, and two, you just like you don't do that part unless you're doing MMA.
Yeah. I love wall work. I like watching it. I like working on it. I like the technical aspect of it. I like the bigger octagon than a ring usually is. Well,
and two, it presents some different angles. And I think for the most part, if you can fight in an octagon, this dude is working the leg kick, bro. I really enjoy a good leg kick.
Yeah, speaking of a good leg kick, next weekend is Jeremy Stephens and Duho Choi. And Jeremy Stephens' last fight against Gilbert Melendez, he was using the little calf kick. That's all the rage right now. Yeah, that
is all the rage right now. And that kick you and I were talking about before, probably since John Jones has come in. But, like, it's funny, like the little oblique kick or that, like, kind of stomp kick to the thigh. Yeah. Because I never teach that to the knee. And I always give a talk when I show it to the thigh. And I haven't showed it in a while, but that guy you were talking about, it was Judah you were talking about. Yeah, it was Judah.
Yeah. I know him now, but back then I didn't really know
I was like, I wasn't thinking about it. Judah's wanting to do kickboxing, so like we'll chat about the Saturday workout here in a little bit. Mm-hmm. And but Judah's wanting to get out and fight this semester, and so is he's a college student, but Damon that's been coming in. You met him?
Yeah.
He worked with him the other night.
Yeah,
He's
I
actually
worked
had a
with him.
fight before. It's
Yeah, I
been
heard
like a
him say
couple
that.
of years, like 2 or 3 years.
2012.
Yeah.
since he had a fight.
Wow. That's a while back.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but he's wanting to get in it, and that dude's actually from the same town as I am. So I kind of knew who he was. He's way younger than me. Like I want to say.
He trained in Conway. He said, right?
Yeah, just up the road. You guys checked out much of the state since you moved here?
Not really. Not. I mean, I've been to. We call it Fayetteville and what's Bentonville?
You like to? Bentonville's super nice. You guys go to Crystal Bridges?
No, we only went there for one weekend. We were with Hannah's sister, so we kind of did like the bar hopping thing up in right outside the college. That's the only time I've been there,
dude. Do you like to go to concerts? You like to go to shows?
Yeah, I love shows.
You ever listen to the Floozies?
No, never heard of them.
Oh, dude, they're so sick. They got a show coming up. I'm gonna let you listen to them here in a minute. But they got a show coming up at George's on Dixon. It's a 2-night show, and I'm probably gonna go to it.
What kind of music is that?
It's kind of electronic, but it's like the dude DJs, plays guitar, and sings, and the other dude plays drums. And dude, they kill it. Like as soon as this fight's over, we'll wrap it up, and I'll let you check them out, and we'll get to the drawing board on what we want to do on this Saturday thing.
All right.
But yeah, I've seen him play twice. And it was funny. Like there's a band from Boulder. You'll have to maybe ask your brother about called Sunsquabi that played with him last time, and Sunsquabi killed it so hard. And I'm actually going. You ever hear of a show called Wakarusa?
No.
They moved it from like out of state into Arkansas. Had it for years. Like bands like Panic came and played before I even knew who they were, bro. And I went to Waka and they were playing there, and I didn't know who they were. Oh my god,
cool. I've been to
dude!
shows like that.
I mean, I'm just like,
and then they get big after.
Yeah. So anyway, missed an opportunity there. But in this same place, they had that festival. They're having this thing called the Backwoods Festival, and Sunsquabi's playing, the Floozies are playing, STS9 is playing, a bunch of good bands. They actually released, I hadn't looked it up, they released the second part of the lineup yesterday. I'm looking it up right now, screw it. I'm super excited about it. It's like it's on my birthday. My birthday's April 20th, 420. Oh, yeah. And I'm going to go out there and camp for a couple of days. It's like up on the mountain, Mulberry Mountain. So like you pass Ozark on the way to like Northwest Arkansas. Mm-hmm. It's like 20 miles past Clarksville.
Yeah.
It's up there, and Mulberry Mountain, and I am pumped. It's like a little mini Woodstock when they have a festival up there, dude. It's going to be cool. But a lot of bands I want to see and like to see are playing. Let's see what the lineup is. It says phase 1. They said they were going to release the new lineup. So I don't even see on their website the 2018 lineup. There it is. Okay, Andy Frasco, Emancipator. Don't even know who that is. STS9, you ever listen to them?
No.
I bet they have a song that comes on the gym a lot. It's kind of like a bigger song they have that I'm sure you've heard if you had heard it. But like when we saw the Floozies play and Sunsquabi opened for him, we were like, dude, that Squabi concert was sick. Like we went there to see the Floozies and we're like, these dudes killed it. But they're both playing at this Backwoods Festival. But so I think in like just like a week or two on a Saturday night, the Floozies are playing at George's. If you've never been to a show at George's, like I saw the Drive-By Truckers there the other day. Yeah, dude, they played like 30 songs, bro. Like it was a sick show. That dude's hair is just fantastic. And like all to the side. That dude's see what he's gonna do with the leg kick again.
Emil Meek's real wild, dude. It'll be really interesting to see him fight Usman this weekend.
Both these guys have good striking, man.
And Meek is a real big and powerful 170er. They both exchanged takedowns throughout the fight. Looks like people are gonna be able to duck under him a lot because he comes in swinging for the fences.
Yeah. Man, when Tim and I were breaking down a bunch of old Mike Tyson fights and stuff yesterday, and I've been working this same stuff with Tim. Is like how a lot of boxers will do this, but like throw up a shot and then just like not weave with it per se, but just level change, just go down without moving, just boom, boom and crouch down. Actually, one of the seminars I did with Winklejohn, it was a level change seminar. So like I had that like perspective to build on, like watching people level change over the years. But fascinating stuff. Nice little arm drag.
Meek's got one hell of a gas tank coming at him like this.
Oh, look at that.
Being that big.
I like that. That was kind of like a tie clinch style takedown countering a double leg.
Yeah.
I like that. Man, I love if somebody's kneeing you to... You see it a lot in kickboxing. Like you have the guy in clinch, or you guys are kind of like neutral clinched, and they go to knee, and you pull on that side, or you pull on the opposite side. Either one, you can add a foot prop into it. But just like in Thai boxing, you see it all the time. Dude goes to knee, and you pull them, and they go down. It's a knockdown.
Yeah, I love clinch work personally. That's my jam.
It is mine too. I feel like I want to do more of it, like in classes and stuff. But it's like it's a little like I don't know if it's a little harder to do with like bigger groups of like general hobbyists, like which is like we have a lot. I think it's totally essentially competitors. And like at an IKF tournament we did for a few years, like we did 3 in a row. Cora won it twice, but like the rule set we were doing was not Muay Thai rules. It was like basically it's just kickboxing. Like you can't clinch.
Yeah.
And like I honestly regret doing that rule set. Like I was able to produce like multiple champions multiple years in that rule set, but it like set us back on the clinch. It didn't set me back on the clinch, and like my competitors still maintained clinch work, but it's just like, well, I mean, I say that, but like during that time when like Cora and Evelyn, some of the people that went and did IKF, like they didn't work any clinch.
Yeah.
And then so I want to say the next year, like Evelyn did the Muay Thai division and had some awesome clinch work, but she lost like a super close decision in the finals. And but like we had to like catch up on the clinch. That was like her 3rd year to do the tournament. It's a big kickboxing tournament in Orlando, and we did Thai rules. And it's just like that wasn't her weak set in the fight, but that was her weak set in the camp, you know, or not like we just had to work on it as we hadn't worked on it because of the rules previously. So. That's another thing you would lose out on seeing if MMA were in a ring, and that you do lose out on seeing is like right now those dudes are going to get like either stood back up because of the ropes.
Yeah.
I guess that would be the only way to handle it. It's not like you can grab them and pull them back out to the center, you know.
Mm-hmm. Did you see Kamaru Usman's last fight?
I did not.
I didn't either. Mostly what I know from him is what I heard. I listened to Darren Till on Ariel Helwani's show and what he was saying about him. And what Kamaru Usman's saying about himself. Everyone's scared to fight him.
Man, I really like Uriah. I like watching him fight. I mean, he's not like my favorite fighter or anything, but I like watching him fight every time he fights. I like, because you never know what he's going to do, and he's kind of unorthodox. Did he fight Anderson Silva? Did he beat Anderson Silva? Did they fight?
He didn't fight Anderson Silva.
Like they were going to, but Anderson
he's
maybe.
had a rough go of late. I think they were going to, which would have been a really, really cool matchup. But he had a rough go of it. He got pummeled by Gegard before Gegard went to Bellator.
Yeah. That's my conspiracy right there in action. Why is that dude in Bellator?
I don't know.
Because the Fertitta brothers own it, bro.
Pummeled Uriah Hall and then goes to Bellator. Granted, he was voicing his, what do you call it, dislike for what he was getting paid for a while. Kamaru Usman's been on a freaking huge tear, but He hasn't fought really much of anyone of note.
Man, I remember when Anderson Silva was tearing up Rich Franklin with those knees. That was the shit.
Yeah, back before people
You're right,
didn't
they
see
did
tie
not
clinch in
fight.
the UFC very much.
I guess I just remember seeing that they were going to, and on that Silva.
I think they were, but that might have been when
Man,
Silva
I was
popped or
excited to
something or
see
the other.
that. That would have been awesome. Man, dude, Silva, check this out. Lost to Weidman, lost to Weidman, no contest to Diaz, lost to Bisping, lost to Cormier, went over Derek Brunson. Like,
Barely.
yeah. What a sad. Like, here's all of his wins. Let me scroll. So there's his last loss to the illegal kick to Yushin Okami in Pride. Or not his Rumble on the Rock, but like, look how many wins. And then it's just like crap. It's like looking at BJ Penn's record. But that's what I like to do. I mean, dude, there's some, and it's like whether it's age or whether it's performance enhancing drugs, there's something that makes, like, I just look at that table right there, like that Wikipedia table. It's like there's something that has to, what is it going on in these fighters' lives, like BJ Penn, Anderson Silva, where they kill it forever. And then it's like they keep fighting, and it's like the record. Like, I can't remember. Like, BJ Penn is like 1-7 in his last 8 fights, or something like, or like something crazy.
It's
but
really
like,
bad, really bad.
It's depressing. It's like, at what point, like, there almost needs to be a regulatory mechanism.
Oh, that's weird. Yeah, and Anderson Silva still looks good when he fights, though. Like,
Dude, I mean, I feel like if it would have been a 5-rounder, that Cormier fight would have changed complexion a little bit, because he almost knocked Cormier out in the 3rd round with that liver shot.
Yeah,
Landed a nasty kick, and Cormier was like, looked like when Anthony Pettis liver shotted Cerrone. I don't know if you remember that, but it's just like Cerrone was like good, and then he kind of winced and like started backing away a little bit. It's the exact same. Dude, you ever been kicked in the liver super hard?
Oh yeah.
Man, dude. Okay, so do you know who Andrea Lee is? She just signed to the UFC, and she fought.
Oh yeah, she fought on the card.
KGB Lee.
Yeah.
So like Cora goes up and trains with her periodically, and like Andrea is like won that IKF tournament I was talking about, and like the last time Cora won it, Stephen Thompson was who put her belt on. Like, Stephen Thompson's won the IKF multiple times. That might be something, if you ever wanted to do kickboxing, like, we may take some people this year in July. That's when that kickboxing tournament is, like 3 rings, 3 fights going at all times. There's like 3 different rule sets you can compete in: Thai, international rules, which is no clinching or knees, and then they do point fighting, or like, it's not point fighting, but it's boxing, but you can't kick below the waist. So like no leg kicks basically in the division.
Okay.
Which is total garbage.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, dude, like,
all these rules.
I
It's
know
so
that's
weird.
stylization of sport, dude. It is very weird. But yeah, I will say this, like, as a coach, like, sometimes it's nice to have, like, you might have somebody that's a boxer that just started doing a little bit of kickboxing, and you don't want them getting kicked as much. You know, like, you could look at that. But then if they go against a karate style, that's just, it's like, dude, I'd much rather get kicked in the leg than freaking wheel kicked in the face. I never understood that about traditional martial arts. It's like, okay, wait, we can't punch in the face. Like in Kyokushin, what is it? How do you say that? Kyoshin.
I think it's Kyoshin.
Kyoshin. You don't punch in the face and you don't kick in the leg. But I can wheel kick you, and that's okay. I can axe kick you, and that's in the back of the skull when you're bent over.
Yeah,
I just
don't
never
know where
understood
these
it.
things come from.
Well, that, I think, is just a stylization of sport and point fighting more than anything. It's a trippy looking picture up there. Is it space or water?
I think it's water, but yeah, there was a space one earlier. That's pretty dang cool looking too.
Yeah, that's my conspiracy too about NASA. They're feeding us these fake space images. The Photoshop ones Eddie Bravo's been talking about.
Eddie Bravo.
Dude, I tell people this. He used to like in like '09 when I first started charting him. He I thought he was kind of douchey, and then like over the years, I really like listening to his perspective on things. And I'm sure he's gotten. Oh, dude, look at BJ Penn's record, bro. So sad.
It's just pink. All of
Frankie. Then you knocked out Matt Hughes. Then you did that draw to John Fitch. Dude, I hate John Fitch. I hate watching that dude fight. Lost to Diaz, lost to McDonald, lost to Frankie for the 3rd time. How are you going to have a rubber match when you lost to the dude twice already?
It makes no sense. I don't know.
I mean, okay, so why is it Dana is so quick to throw Chuck out. You can't get knocked out anymore because he got knocked out by Rashad, Shogun, and Rich Franklin and Rampage. It started with Rampage. Rampage knocked him out first when he came over from Pride. But he had all these other battles where he didn't get knocked out with Keith Jardine, with Vanderlei. But then, I think Shogun TKO'd him, didn't knock him out. Rich Franklin knocked him out. And then Dana White's like, you're out. You're done. We don't want to see it anymore. You're going to work for the UFC. But it's like, dude, here we have BJ Penn still going, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about BJ.
Yeah. What do you do? Well, dude, let's go and wrap this up, man. Appreciate you coming on. Got any final comments or predictions about the next couple weeks? We didn't really get into the Stipe fight, but we could talk about that another time.
Yeah, that would be a really good one to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Heavily invested in that fight.
Yeah, I know,
I'm
right?
Sure everyone is.
What's your prediction? Who do you think?
I'm not going to give a prediction on that one because I really have no idea.
I would love to see Stipe bring it down just because I love the way he's handling it. Like, he's not being a pompous ass about it. He's not being overly cocky. And I felt like that Ngannou tried to put some bait out at the presser or whatever the other day.
He did.
And then and he's like, no,
I
I ain't taking that, dude.
Yes.
I'm over here fighting fires and being an average guy. And
Stipe has the mindset of someone that seems like they're going to win the fight, but I just can't really picture it happening. Like, if you picture both of them in there, like...
all I can see is Ngannou knocking Alistair Overeem's head off of his shoulders.
And Stipe does come in on a straight line a lot with his head straight. And I could see Ngannou's going to hit it once during that fight.
Dude, that was a legit finish of Overeem. Overeem fought Verdum when I was in Vegas in July. We got to see that fight. It wasn't really that exciting, but dude, I too, like, I wasn't too far away from the cage, but like, and I don't know if it would have been any different if I was on the floor, but like, it wasn't as awesome. I mean, it was awesome seeing a live fight, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't as awesome as I thought it was going to be. Like, watching it from the stands, like, it's honestly, because like, the cage is like right down in front of us, but we're watching the screen.
Yeah, that's what I heard about the UFC events.
Like, the screen is like way bigger than the cage, so you end up watching the screen instead of the cage, and like,
to feel the weight of the fight, you really need to be down there.
Well, and too, so I wonder, being on the floor, like, and I kind of feel this way at like local shows that I go to and stuff, to just like have people fight on. I'm always cage side, but like, it's not bad looking right at cage side up into but periodically it can be. You get them over, like, away from you in the corner, or like, there's just certain places it's like little blind spots in there, but yeah, man. Well, dude, right on, man. Appreciate you coming on. We'll go ahead and turn it off and figure out what we're going to do on this Saturday practice. Right. Appreciate you, man.
Thanks.